Gathered friends, listen again to our legend of Takua.
Takua! What are you doing down here alone? We're supposed to be at the Coley match.
I want to look at that stop. I want to look at that stop sign. I want to look at that stop sign. I bet nobody's ever looked at that fucking stop sign. So I'm gonna cross.
Sign of destiny.
I'm gonna cross at fucking traffic to get to it. That's
This
basically
is the show where we read Bionicle. Today we read the movie.
Do you know what TuragaNuva would say?
to get today.
Irresponsible.
We read the novelization of the movie and
then we watched the movie.
And
I watched the movie twice.
Yeah, I read the whole book last time because I forgot we weren't supposed to read the whole book, and I only just watched the movie just now. I literally finished like 10 minutes before Chippy Chips.
I read 2/3 of the book within an hour today, only to find out, oh hey, you Brit fucks don't observe daylight savings time as soon as we do, so I didn't have to do it in an hour because there was still an hour and a half to go.
Yeah, you gotta love daylight savings time and how different regions have different daylight savings time, and everything's just bad. And why can't we just let the sun tell us what time it is?
That would be nice.
That's what we do. That's why we have different daylight savings times.
Anyway, so if this movie were about people living in a city, what the first scene would have been a police officer looking for his stoner friend, watching him running traffic to look at a stop sign.
Pretty much.
He
this
was
movie...
hopping across stones in lava to look at a fucking totem that was apparently a warning totem, and he was all like, I bet no one's looked at that. I better go look at that and put it on the wall of history. That's apparently...
Why put a warning totem across the lava?
Just gonna make people curious.
It's like...
How can they read it if it's all the way over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when the letters are just carved into the side of it.
Yeah, and then Stu found it, and then he dropped it in the lava, and it turns out there's a fancy mask in it! A big old
Man,
fancy
it sure
mask.
is lucky that he could reach that mask. Imagine if the river had just carried it away.
Also, did he never watch Indiana Jones? You don't just reach out for the thing.
Evidently, they don't have Indiana Jones in Bionicle Land.
So can I just question? We're getting right into this. We're not introducing anyone today, or we're just gonna go.
Yeah,
we haven't even told people what we're reading. We just shouted Takua a bunch and then got right into it.
Yeah, no, everyone
This
knows
is
who we
the
are.
worst episode ever. Curtis,
no.
I
The
blame
worst
you.
podcast in the world.
Yeah, no, fuck it. Everyone knows who we are and what we do. Fuck it.
Well,
Wait,
people might not know Orikume here.
Why?
Everyone knows Orikume. She's the greatest.
No, I'm like... No one knows who I am. I'm like... Just a rando.
Hey, they can't all be massive personalities every week.
Okay, fine. Let's pretend that everyone doesn't know the deal. I am Josie. I am the president of Bionicle. This is Liam. He is the actual guy in charge of Bionicle.
I am definitely not.
This is Glib. He is also the president of Bionicle.
And I would like to quickly thank Curtis for finding me an absolute goblin for the last episode.
And this is Curtis, and he also is the president of Bionicle. And together we are the presidents of Bionicle.
I'm not the president, I'm Sai.
By our powers combined, we are Bionicles.
Okay, I gotta put that on my to-do list. Is Captain Planet Bionicles?
Curtis, now you have to make a Matoran Kaita in the recording.
Oh, don't worry.
Is Captain Planet...
But yeah, so today, for this time, we have read chapters 16 through to the end of book 3 of the Biological Chronicle, watched the movie, that is, Mask of Light, and read the epilogue.
Maybe you
so
maybe you fuckers
basically-
read the book. I already read it.
So
great.
basically, this is the whole story of the Mask of Light up to the end of, well, the end. Forever,
Yeah,
really, when you
the
think
door,
about it.
When the door fell on the guy and the guy came out of the mask,
We'll get to that.
Eh.
But first off, we start...
spoilers. A door falls on a guy. The end. And
Yeah,
Yoda
basically.
blows
Moving
up a tree.
on.
And Yoda blows up a tree.
So let's get back to that guy hopping across the lava to look at the stupid warning totem.
Hey,
After
hey,
he...
Hey, Joller, I got the stop sign. Aren't I great? I'm about to die.
Very impressive.
After he drops the stop sign in the lava, out comes a golden Kanohi mask of light.
Yep.
And he just picks it right up. Never mind burning your hands or nothing.
I have to love their pronunciation of that word. Like, they're really trying. Like, it's not just a great Kanohi mask. It's a great Kanohi mask.
Yep. It's like
Michael Jackson trying to pronounce Kanohi.
It's like that.
Kanohi?
It's like Ted Wasana song from King of the Hill. They gotta enunciate everything clearly because they're talking to babies.
Yep.
Also, you pronounced pronunciation wrong.
I
Yes.
pronounced it just fine.
I was
You said-
seething in the darkness.
You
What?
said pronunciation when it's actually pronunciation. So anyway, we're looking at the Maturin eating the Maturin.
Funny.
Maturin.
So
Are there any
so
other
he's got-
pronunciations of Maturin that I missed?
well, there is some pronunciation stuff we'll be getting into later, but for now,
Maturin,
let's just stick with
Maturin.
Takua on the lava.
Yep, we'll just call all of them Takua. Every
Yeah,
single
so
one of them. The whole
As Takua
species.
is paddling across the lava, trying to get back to his good friend Jala, whose name is still pronounced Jala, even though it's spelled Jaler with an R.
Yep.
Yep.
It's almost as if naming day wasn't actually important.
It's almost as if none of this actually matters.
It's
It's
almost
just a
as if-
baby film for babies.
It's almost. And
Wait, do you hear that? I hear something. It's the sound of our entire fan base running away.
And since we started the episode off with this, I just want to say, even as a kid, I thought the choice of California Surfer Dude voice for Jala, the fucking police captain of Fireland, was a weird choice.
And that segues into our first bit of notes about voice actors and their trivia. Apparently, Takua and Jala's voice actors auditioned for opposite roles, and the producers decided to swap them around.
Yep,
I mean, I will admit...
They mentioned this briefly in the special bonus features.
they did.
I will admit that Takua's voice would have probably been even less fitting for Jala, because at least California Surfer Dude voice is...
I mean, that works for Takua.
He does do a surf.
No. A California Surfer Dude would work for either of them, but I mean, like, Takua's voice is a lot higher pitched.
I'm sorry, but you are definitely right. Like, if you go back, let's have a little exercise for both you guys and our viewers out there.
Hello, I'm Michael Jackson. You're under arrest.
Go back to Madanui Online Game, talk to Jala, and read his ridiculously over the top serious lines in the Mask of Light voice.
It's hard.
We could probably get that guy to read the script at some point. Apparently a lot of actors from Bionicle have been asked to read lines that they didn't actually.
Yeah, LJ brought that up last week. He got Pohatu's voice actor from Journey to One to read something.
Yeah. TJ Omega, Transformers toy reviewer, his favorite voice actor voiced Tahu in this.
Scott
and-
McNeil, yeah.
Scott McNeil. Every time he meets him at a convention, he brings him a new obscure toy of a character he's voiced and has him sign it. Eventually,
Nice.
eventually, he's going to have to talk about Bionicle on a video at some point. And I'm really excited about that because then I can add him to our list of recommended YouTubers on Twitter.
Well, voice of Jala, if you're out there watching this for some reason, I don't know your name, put it on screen, Curtis.
It's Andrew Francis.
If you're out there, get a hold of us, or we'll try and get a hold of you if you're not watching this. And if you're not watching this, then why am I still talking to you?
There's only like 6 voice actors in Hollywood voicing every role in the universe. So odds are everyone in this call is well familiar with many characters this guy has voiced.
Yeah,
I don't
I was going to say, actually.
I can't remember the name of any of them off the top of my head because...
well, lucky for you, I wrote some of them down. So it's funny, actually, this movie is not the last time that Andrew Francis would be cast as the captain of the guard, despite his over-the-top surfer voice.
Yep.
Mr. Glib, you might recognize him as Shining Armor in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Yes.
Excuse me?
Yes. Yep.
I've seen that one on Twitter so many times, you'd think I'd remember that one.
Yep.
Also,
there's been fan art of that.
Golly's voice actress is Queen Chrysalis.
See,
Yeah,
I
she
knew
is.
I knew there was fan art of Jala as a pony, but I never quite understood it until
It's
just
funny
fucking
that
now.
his
You know what I just realized? The Queen Chrysalis would be a very accurate Bionicle toy. With all those
wonder why.
holes in her leg. Well, no.
But yeah, Andrew
Chrysalis
Francis
is
was
the one-
also Andrew Francis was also Luffy in the pilot episode of One Piece, but not the actual series.
Well, fuck.
And he was Dende in Dragon Ball Z.
Liam, you know what?
There is a lot of crossover between Mass
Hang on,
Effect and
wait.
Dragon Ball Z.
Like,
Kopaka's voice actor played Nappa in at least a few of the games.
Huh.
And
the series as well.
Pohatu's voice actor played Perfect Cell.
And between all 3 of the first Bionicle movies, every voice actor from the English dub of Death Note is represented in Bionicle.
Wow.
Every single one.
Yeah, this is actually the Ocean dub group who did a lot of anime back in the day.
Yep.
I don't know if they still do.
Like I said, there's only like 6 voice actors voicing everyone you've ever heard of. So
Yeah, like we said, voice of Tahu, Scott McNeil, he was Piccolo in Dragon Ball Z. He was also Dr. Wily in the Mega Man cartoon, and Batman's dog.
Wait. I swear to God, if Dr. Light's voice actor from the cartoon is in this, or from any of the fucking games, I'm actually the Dr.
Wally.
Dr.
Find
Wily.
out.
odds are he probably is. He might be one of the Turaga.
Yeah.
Like I said, TJ Omega, all one word. He apparently researches the crap out of Scott McNeil and has him sign obscure toys.
I suppose this is as good a time as any to talk about this, but one of the voice actors in Bionicle the game, which basically abridges the entire story of Mask of Light and a little bit before that, the actor who plays Tahu in that game, he's absolutely fucking awful. He's one of the worst. It's one of the worst acting
What's
jobs
it
I've ever heard.
doing to my mind?
One of the worst acting jobs I've ever heard. But he now plays. I forget some of the characters he plays, but the one that always stuck out to me, Zavok,
Man, some people
Sonic
frickin'
Lost
way.
World.
Man, some people just gotta work for a paycheck, man. He wasn't feeling good that day, but he gotta do it.
Well,
Maybe.
the thing I'm trying to get at is, like, either he just wasn't feeling it, or he really got good at what he was doing, because, goddamn, Zavok has a sexy fucking voice.
You know what?
That is
thinking
very
about-
weird to say
okay.
about a giant red troll creature.
All right, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he was so humiliated by the reviews of Bionicle the game, and like, oh god, everyone hates me voicing the red toy. I better exercise. And he got
Do not worry, Turaga. I will see to their safety.
and he got all super buff voiced, and he lifting weights with his larynx.
His voice cords are jacked.
Yeah, man. You don't want to catch
yeah.
yourself walking in a dark corner with what's his name? I fucked up the joke. I was gonna imply that his vocal cords would be
Travis
walking
Willingham, that's his name.
Oh, him. Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
Travis
and he played Tahu in Bionicle the game, and he was awful. He's also the main voice actor of Knuckles now.
Yeah, that's where I recognize him from.
And Knuckles.
Oh yeah,
And
can I
Knuckles.
is Shadow's voice actor in this? 'Cause that
Oh,
would, like,
which Shadow
complete
voice
the set.
actor?
Well, it
the-
definitely
Faker.
wouldn't be fucking Jason Griffith.
Yeah, no, I don't think he was.
Four kids at the time were not part of the voice actors union, so actors who worked for Four Kids generally weren't in works by that had the actors union involved.
Yeah. I'll just quickly go over some of the other voice actors.
Also,
Makuta's
Sean
voice actor.
Jamel, Goku. Yes, I think
Yep,
you just
okay.
said that.
Well, we were
Well,
talking
I
about
was
Makuto, who's voiced by Lee Talker.
Yeah,
He's also
Makuta.
voiced by Goku in the game.
Okay. So yeah, Makuta and also Puku,
Yeah,
voiced
I
by
have
Lisa
that in
Carr.
my notes.
Yeah, he's-
drastic
Crab
difference.
Satan.
Yeah, he's also been George of the Jungle, Frieza from Dragon Ball Z,
Which
and
George-
Bling Bling Boy from Johnny Test.
Which George is-
With this cross, oh yeah, Pohatu's voice actor also plays Dookie in Johnny Test. Or wait, I
Yeah.
think that's Lewa's voice actor.
No, that was
Hey.
Pohatu.
Oh, okay.
Hey everyone.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then
Johnny
Gully,
Test
voiced
is-
by...
Johnny Test is coming back.
I
Oh
heard.
boy.
Wait, what?
And,
It's
God.
been confirmed
Oh
already.
no,
It's coming,
no,
it's coming
no. Let's
back.
continue. Let's.
no,
not-
let's just skip over
Focus.
that. Yeah,
Let's forget
Gully,
that
played...
ever
Focus.
happened.
Okay.
Gully,
I'll-
played by Kathleen Barr. Kathleen Barr is also Mama Robotnik in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Really?
Kevin in Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Oh.
Queen Chrysalis, as we already
Dwarves!
said, from My Little Pony. And Misako from Ninjago.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. In fact, Andrew
it's
Francis, who we
weird.
mentioned
There's more-
earlier, was
it's
Moro
so-
as well.
It's so weird. There's more crossover between Mask of Light and Dragon Ball Z than there is with Mask of Light and other Lego products.
That's true.
Yeah. Weird.
Yep. Leiwa, as we said already, was Cell in Dragon Ball Z. All forms of Cell, not just Perfect Cell.
Ah.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Yep. Kopaka and Huki, voiced by Michael Dobson. He was Nappa in Dragon Ball Z, Starscream in various Transformers TV series, and Pythor in Ninjago.
Ah, good character.
Yep.
Kopaka.
Kohaku, we've already gone over. He was Juki. Hali, voiced by Chiara Zani. Apologies if I butchered that name. She was
probably-
Hamtaro in Hamtaro.
What? Really? Oh,
Yep.
cool.
Is hamsters bionicles?
God damn it, Josie.
And the Coley announcer, Doc Harris, was the narrator from Dragon Ball Z.
Kyle Hebert?
No, Doc Harris.
Oh.
This is the Canadian dub of
That's
Dragon Ball
a
Z.
lot of.
Why was there
Wait,
a
there were
Canadian...
different dubs?
Why was there a
Yeah.
Canadian dub of Dragon Ball Z?
Okay,
Wasn't
so
there, like,
Dragon Ball
mo-
Z was dubbed a few times. There was the original Canadian dub, also known as the Ocean dub or the Westward dub.
Oh, okay, I get it now.
And then there was the Funimation in-house dub, and then Funimation went back and re-recorded it, and then they went back and re-recorded it again for Dragon Ball Z Kai.
Okay.
So there's
it's
like
just-
4 different dubs of the same episodes.
It's just the way that
Wow,
you
this is
introduced
some
that.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure bullshit.
It's just the way. Okay,
Lore.
Liam, it happened because Japan, the rights expired and they got sold to someone else. That's why that happened.
Pretty much.
The way Curtis introduced it as the Canadian dub made it sound like it was specifically Canada got its own dub.
Yeah.
I mean, that was how it was distributed originally.
You know what? Every anime should be dubbed into English twice. And
It actually reminds me so much of lately I've been watching like a lot of disaster documentaries and stuff like that, and the other night I got into watching Mayday, and I found out that's only called Mayday here in Canada, and elsewhere it's called Air Crash Investigation. But the Canadian version that airs on Discovery Channel has a completely different narrator than the versions aired everywhere else.
The movie Cars has a different voice actor for Lightning McQueen's manager.
Yeah. In the UK, it's Jeremy Clarkson, known for Top Gear.
Ninja Warrior also has a dub in English that I can't find anywhere.
Oh, Top Gear.
It does, yeah.
A show that has more milkshake ducks per episode than most milkshakes have ducks.
Should we get back to the movie?
I think
Yes.
we should.
Yes.
What movie are we talking
Moving
about?
on.
So, Takua almost dies from lava. Almost becomes lava bone, as you could say.
Yeah.
When Tahu swoops in and just picks him right on up. Thank God Tahu was in the
Are
area.
you?
And then, like,
Yeah.
fucks with him.
Yeah, just let's take a closer look at those falls. Leaps off the edge. So eventually, after the long climb back up, which must have taken hours, then Tahu's all like, "Hey, Jala, here's the guy. He's alive."
Oh,
Nobody
shit,
actually
you
thanks
have
Tahu, by the way.
Oh shit! You have a shiny thing.
Yeah.
A
shiny
great Kanohi mask.
A great
Kanohi?
Kanohi mask. You better tell TuragaNuva about this after you win the sports ball tournament.
Sports ball.
And
Yes,
so we get into the
Tahu.
whole
This can't possibly be important. Play
Getting
the
into-
sports first.
Sports ball is certainly more interesting to watch than it is to either read about or play.
Yep. So we get into the Great Coley Field, where everyone's gathered from 3 of the 6 villages. You'd think because this is like the final of the tournament, some more people from around the island would show up, but no, it's just the Tamatoran and the Gamatoran and the Pomatoran.
Yeah, the
was
others
just
already lost. They don't give a shit.
I was more
Yes.
confused that they call it a field and not a stadium.
Yeah. Oh well.
I
guess
guess
that
you
makes
could
sense.
say they're full of steam. Hot
air,
as they
They
say.
say.
In sports, you call it a field when it's outdoors, but when there's an enclosure or a building around it, you call it a stadium. The more you fart.
So yeah, the Toa are being dicks to each other because that just seems to be their baseline level of interaction.
But my
Except-
headcanon is that the reason Tahu and Gali are so fucking annoyed with each other is because of that one bit that happened in the Place of Shadows in the last book.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
What thing
That's
happened?
really good.
Refresh my memory. I haven't read the book in 4 weeks.
Tahu said that Gali's power was absolutely nothing, basically.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Bearing in mind that book was written after this movie came
Yeah.
out, so maybe that's just a bit of retroactive canon.
I like it. I like it. It is now canon. So says Bionicles.
Getting into the actual Coley match after they're introduced, I want to
Yeah.
bring up a couple
Actually,
of
just
points.
first, Gali got that bulge.
God fucking damn it.
What?
She sure
Was
has.
that really
Also,
necessary?
since when?
Wait, what bulge where?
Gali has a huge fucking crotch bulge in the
Hell
movie.
yeah!
They all have cod pieces. Why are you just looking at Gali?
Because
Gal-
why?
Look,
because
we
they
all
just-
can appreciate some pins and axles.
They went out of
God
they
fucking
went
damn
out
it.
of their way. They went out of their way to make Gali all sexy, even though she has the same body. She has literally the same body type as everyone else, but not in this movie. But except they have the same crutch, so I guess they just all got the peen, and that's all.
I also
right.
noticed something. They didn't just go out of her. They didn't just go out of their way to make her more feminine looking. They actually made her armor so that it was a shade of blue rather than silver like the rest of the Toa for some reason.
Well,
Yeah, that was really odd.
The lower half of Tahu's armor is also red. They all have various details on them to separate their models from each other.
I guess it was just done to stop them looking too samey.
Yeah,
But anyways, I wanted to get into the Coley itself. For the one, and this is a common theme, including another line a little bit later on where Tahu asks why he's been summoned in the book. But when Takua enters the field with Jala, and Jala asks him to, try your new move, in the movie he's all confident and shit. He's like, of course, that's what the audience came for. But in the book, he's like, nah, it only works in practice. Well, apparently, that's based on a deleted scene from the movie, which you can find in the special features, which tells me that the book was actually based on an earlier version of the movie's script.
Which is understandable. I mean, the movie was probably in production for a long time, so they must have changed some things up towards
Anyway,
the end.
so he does a special mode during the game, and he fucks it up so badly that that his team loses.
Well, the game itself-
I don't doubt it, considering that they played Coley perfectly normally in Matanui Online Game 2, and then according to the book, all of a sudden, you have to score 3 goals, and there are 2 Coley balls.
Yeah, 2 Coley balls
Yeah.
at once. What?
Oh, that sounds marvelous.
I can imagine he got a little confused.
Also, why do they use fucking giant boulders to indicate the scores?
They don't,
Well, they don't in the
according
book.
to the book. They use light stones.
Light stones.
Which make more sense.
They didn't look
But-
very light to me.
See,
I do like the massive boulders in the movie.
I
It's
think-
just so
Yeah,
over the top.
my headcanon is that the Matoran is actually Kapura that pushes the boulders.
I like the boulders as well, but ever since I was a kid, I had to question,
How do you
How the fuck
remove
do they get them out of there?
Yep,
I think-
yep.
They just open up the bottom and they drop out.
I think the animators thought that the movie already had too many light, shiny things, so they wanted to have something more different as the score thingies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why the Matoran got the big balls.
I guess that's a reasonable decision.
Yeah. So Gakoro ends up winning because I guess they just are really good at this naturally.
Yeah, fuck
They weren't
yeah.
very good when I played the game.
Well, that's because you suck, Liam.
And Jala just comes out and says, "Oh hey Harley, that was pretty good for a Gamatoran."
Yeah,
Jala.
so he just goes.
Shut up,
so-
Jala.
That was
so he
pretty
just-
good for a whammon.
So he just goes. So yeah, the police commissioner, the police guy just goes misogynying all over the place, and then
Is it misogyny or is it racism?
Both.
Thank you, Gamboji. And then a recovering amnesiac is all sassy apparently, and is all like, "Okay, you shithead."
What?
Yeah,
What the fuck
pretty
are you
much.
talking about?
Recovering amnesiac. Hallie just got over her brain being a thing fell on her. Remember? You played it for 16 hours, Liam.
So then the Avaki falls out of Jala's backpack, and the book does not explain how they play footsie with the mask to make it look like the light is pointing at Jala.
But the movie shows it pretty good. It's funny.
And Takua's shit-eating grin when he does it.
Yeah, and notice that the mask does not start lighting until it touches Takua, and it turns off when it isn't touching Takua.
Yeah.
He's
The
like,
book
Yeah.
has it differently.
Yeah, the book is a little bit more subtle about that, and also paints Takua as a bit less of a jerk in the book form. Because, in the next scene where they're all gathered around the Suva and Nokama's translating the ancient runes on the back of the mask, in the book version, Takua's like, "Oh, I don't know, I'm not very responsible, maybe Jala should do this." But in the movie, he's just like, fuck it, Jala, you do this.
I don't have a destiny.
yeah,
I'm different.
The Turaga want me to travel all over the island, and that's the thing. Literally the thing that I do, and I don't want to do it. So you do it.
I just got back from 2 adventures, one of which had me catapulted halfway across the fucking island onto my face on the beach. I don't want to do that again. I need a break.
I think I met Satan and brought forth an army of pillbugs.
Sounds
I
like
want to do
a
that again.
sounds like a typical Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Turaga are like, "Hey, this is like a really fucking important mask, and we never told you about this before, but
And
there's
then-
like another Toa?"
And the nonsense on the back says that you gotta find him.
A 7th
Yeah.
Toa? It couldn't possibly be the guy who found the mask.
Yeah.
No. Impossible.
I showed this movie, like, I had a friend over the other day, and he'd never seen the Bionicle movies before, or really read into this part of the story, because he only jumped in around 2004. I showed him this movie, and it was only, like, 10 minutes in that he realized, he turned to me and said, like, I'm calling it now, it's the 7th Toa. Like, it really is that
Yeah.
predictable.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy-handed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't
But it's
see
for children.
I mean, I didn't see it coming, but I was stupid, so
Same.
I was a very stupid baby.
I was 7 when this movie came out.
I
Yeah.
was 6, I think.
I was.
But I also
12.
had high-functioning autism, so
I might have been 14.
I'm basically Takua.
Takua! Well, Takua goes through puberty at the end of this movie, so.
Yeah.
Rapid puberty, yep.
And becomes a
Yeah.
shiny boy.
Yeah, he puts
Yeah.
a shiny thing on his face and goes through puberty. That's how
He becomes he goes through puberty and becomes a shiny Pokemon.
Oh.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh no,
but,
he was transferred. He was upgraded to Pokemon Gen 2 and became shiny because that's a thing that happened. Because
Oh.
okay, so they added shinies to the second Pokemon games, and sometimes you could import Pokemon to Gen 2, and then they would just be shiny because the games are weird and collect
Yeah.
stats weird. And this
but-
means nothing. This means nothing. Why do I keep doing this?
Moving on.
Moving
Moving
on.
right along at the speed of sound.
So for now, all they know is that there is a seventh Toa, and they should probably go find him, whoever he is.
And so they hop up onto their crab friend who looks different.
Yep, and they just go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Makuta is down in his lair being evil.
And
he's like
writing emo poetry.
Writing emo poetry. And then he rips out his liver and shoves it into a stone.
Rips out 3 of his liver.
3 livers,
Well,
yeah.
see, the liver grows back, so if you're gonna rip out any
okay.
organ, you might as well rip out the liver.
And they
Guess
turn
so.
into gross little murlocs.
And cue the Egyptian music, because these guys are straight up the Pillar Men.
Awaken my masters.
I mean, they're
Aye,
straight,
aye,
up,
aye,
they're
aye,
straight
aye.
up the Pillarmen, but made of dicks. So,
Yeah, pretty much.
instead,
So
no
these
more
are
for
Makuta's baby boys, the Rakshi.
I guess they're like the opposite of the Pillarmen. The Pillarmen were all sexy men, and the snakes are all sexy dicks. Snake dicks.
I'm pretty sure someone somewhere out there considers the Rakshi sexy, and I never want to meet them in person in the rest of my days.
I mean, I'd hit it.
And
yeah.
we're done with this recording. See you next time, everyone.
Okay,
Like a
so
bionicle
Liam's,
version of furries. Bonkies.
Moving on.
Yeah,
the
so,
reptilian version of furry is Scalies. I don't know if Bonkles has a special name for furries.
I don't know.
Gross.
So anyway, this is where we get into the first major divergence of the book compared to the movie. Well, specifically this version of the book. So this is a part that was added into the collection we're reading, which is how do I describe this? There was this Flash game on the Mask of Light website back in the day.
It's
Where
like a
you
choose
would-
your own adventure.
Yeah.
Well, that's
so
where.
you.
Hold on, that's where this fits in. I didn't have that in my version of the book.
We're
You didn't?
Did you
No.
read the complete?
for reference.
I
For
downloaded
reference.
the complete version.
For reference,
Well,
we're
it should have been
talking-
there then.
For reference, are we talking about the 2 comic relief characters looking for
Yeah.
looking for the fucking gates to heaven or whatever?
The
Yeah,
Tomatoran
the
who
Tan
aren't-
Matoran and the Grey Matoran.
Yeah, they're just wandering around the fucking island hoping to find this lost fucking region of space. It's like,
Yeah.
man,
They don't even know if it's real or
Yeah.
on the island at all.
Yeah, obviously it wouldn't be on the island because people have been all over the island. Why would we not?
You guys have lived here for 1,000 years. You would have found it by now.
Like, I think this was just written to pad out something because this is probably like the least well-developed part of the story. Like, these characters were never even given names.
I mean, like I said, this was just a choose-your-own-adventure Flash game on the website, so I don't take it too seriously.
I mean, I do because they expanded this story way much more than they needed to and wrote so
It
much.
was
more.
also the first mention of Artaka in the series.
That was.
It was, yeah.
That, I was so surprised to see that in the book. Like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, so apparently that was, well, at least name-dropped way back in 2003.
Libby,
That's interesting.
we'll tell you who that guy is when it's relevant.
I definitely
Okay.
played that game. I definitely played that game when it first came out. But yeah, for some reason that wasn't in my copy of the book. So you'll have to send me the updated version,
Okay.
I guess.
I'm not even familiar
Yeah.
with this game that you're speaking of.
Anyway, it's not very important, to be
Was it
honest.
a-
We'll get into
was
the
it a
rest of
dating-
their adventures later on.
Was it a dating sim?
I wish.
Liam, make a Bionicle dating sim.
Well, there are those guys making one. Love Isn't Canon?
Good.
Ha!
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah, check it out on
Can
Bionicle
you
Mass
make
Posting.
the-
They haven't
Can
updated
you
the...
make the robots fuck?
Wait. Canon Love Posting is making a game?
Yeah, basically.
Good.
Anyway, so then, so we skip back into Harley's misadventures of Minogue 2, where she just goes on another victory lap of the whole island.
Nog,
Yep.
nog, do, 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 do.
So this
Nog,
time
nog,
she goes around
do,
collecting
do,
all the crystals.
Nog, nog, do, do,
Whatever
do,
those
do,
are.
do, 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 do,
Um,
do, do.
Yep. Makuta then encounters these unnamed Matoran, let's just call them the Bozo brothers.
Wait. They ended up in Rangaya?
No, not yet. The later.
Well, you just said Makuta encounters them.
Yeah, in his shadowy eyes in the darkness form.
Oh,
Yeah,
for fuck's sake.
Well, no, it does seem
He plays babysitter.
at some point.
Wait, what?
At some point in the book, they do accidentally wander into his lair. So
Yeah, but that's way later. For now, they're just wandering around underground Takoro, looking at the place where the Mask of Light was found, and Makuta's just like, "Hey guys, don't look for Artaka, or else I'll spook ya."
Basically.
hey guys, I know exactly what you're looking.
Mio.
Hey guys, I know exactly what you're looking for, and know that there's no possible way you can find it because it's behind a fucking door that no one in the universe can move. But I'm gonna spook you.
Yeah. So the two decide to go to Kininui, where they find Gali, who's just meditating, as she does. And then she gets real sick of their shit and decides to pawn them off to Kopaka.
Because
that's better.
Well, the Rakshi were attacking. Like, that's when they actually emerged.
Well, no, but even before that, she straight up says, "I don't know anything about this
You
Artaka.
are
Like, go ask
interrupting
Kopaka."
my meditation and levitation. Go
I'm
away.
I'm looking at constellations and noticing stars.
Yeah.
Stop interrupting me and my hourglass figure that I have for some
Can't
reason.
you see that I'm using the mask of levitation that isn't represented in the movie?
Can you see the love tonight?
No, it's not canon.
Oh.
So yeah, getting back into the movie for a second there, the Rakshi appear out of Kininui, and Guy's like, "Oh crap, they're gonna go beat up Tahu and his folk."
I'm
So she
sorry.
just
So
swims.
this takes place at the same point where the Rakshi emerged from the Suvakaita in the movie.
Yes.
So
yes, it
this
does.
is basically what I'm reading into this here is this is basically these two Matoran writing themselves into the chronicles like OCs.
Yep.
Literally,
Basically.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, and then I met Toagali.
Yep. And Toagali's like, "I'll go warn Takoro. You guys go to Kokoro and tell them about it."
Yeah, various Bionicle podcasters I know of, not podcasts about Bionicle, but like podcasters that have mentioned Bionicle, they all think Takua is basically the self-insert of Bionicle. No.
It's these guys.
If you,
It's
act,
true.
if you actually know about Bionicle, there's characters that are way more self-inserty.
And quote-unquote characters. They don't even get names.
I want to imagine just like whoever made this game is basically just writing out their own fan fiction and publishing it to the Lego
And of
website.
course, like, it doesn't change the plot whatsoever.
I imagine that these
They're just there.
I imagine that these characters are just made out of spare dialogue they had lying around from the guards in Tales of Tunga.
Writers writing their own fanfiction and publishing it to a Lego website.
really
I bet
like-
that'll never happen again.
I really like the dialogue between these characters, but they are literally the most superfluous thing in the canon. The whole canon of Bionicle, there is nothing more pointless than these two guys wandering around looking for a thing and not finding it.
Gold good guy. Oh, sorry, I had something in my throat there.
Yep. So,
Good guy at least has some story relevance. He is a puppet that the Matoran use for puppet shows.
No.
That's not
gold,
canon, that was a
gold,
fan
gold
suggestion.
Good guy.
Fan stuff is canon if Greg likes it.
He didn't say he liked it though.
Oh.
Anyway.
My life is a lie!
So the Rakshi eventually go to Takoro, and Gali just about gets there first and warns everyone.
And then Vakama strips completely naked.
Exactly
Then
as
Vakama strips
foretold.
naked for one camera cut and says, "Oh no, the Rakshi, exactly as foretold."
So to give some context to this is just one of many animation errors in the movie where, in this case, for some reason, in that one specific shot, they forgot to put his robes on.
It's not even the worst. It's not really even the worst animation error.
Saluting while facing through Tahu's sword handle.
And why do the Turaga never tell anyone about these world-ending prophecies?
Because
I like to believe that they don't actually know what's happening. They just like to say, "Oh yeah, we totally knew this was going to happen."
They are aware of the Rakshi. They were aware of the Mask of Light. They're aware of most of these things that happen. They just don't know when they're going to happen. Or
Every
what
time
to
something
do.
goes wrong so far in the story, the Turaga just go exactly as foretold.
Yeah.
Huh.
They know all the shit that they know all about this shit. They just don't actually know what to do when it happens. Like, well, the Rakshi are here. We knew about it. We didn't bother warning you because we frankly don't know what the fuck to do when that happens. We've just been harvesting their brains and storing them in a gigantic cave
In the dark, where Makuta might be able...
We'll get to that.
Where Makuta definitely knows where they are because there is no way to hide things from him.
I know we're definitely getting ahead of ourselves since this comes much later in the story, but... yeah, it's definitely a good idea to bring 2 of the Toa there when the Rakshi are hunting them.
Yeah. So in the books, when Wenua shows 2 of the Toa, hey, I've been collecting the fucking worms that give the Rakshi life and storing them in this gigantic cave. Are you proud of me? Are you proud of me, son?
Hey guys, look at my massive slug collection.
Hey guys,
sounds like an actual like Kraata collector.
Yeah, hey guys. Look.
That totally makes sense for Wenua, though, given what we'll learn about him
Be
later.
absolutely careful, because unlike everything else on this island, these are very fragile tanks, and oh well, there's a cave in. Oh shit!
I love this scene though, because like previously when they're just hiding these fucking things in like stasis tanks, where like for one, how the hell do they even make these with Motonui technology?
Fire and
sand
make glass.
Fire and sand make glass.
Prior to this, they take the Kraata from the bow rock and just shove them in a hole in the ground and put a big rock over it.
Yeah, well, the Kraata can't, like, do shit.
They can squiggle around.
See,
apparently.
I figured that. Okay, so I figured that the Turaga were like researching the Kraata, which is what the wormies are called. We haven't actually said what they're called. Okay, so the Rakshi are powered by these little wormy guys that are apparently the source of infected masks from 2001. They have the power to just infect any mask that they come in contact with, including Toa masks, although that's never happened.
I never made that
Yes,
connection.
it fucking has. What are you talking about?
I've never seen that happen. If you're talking about what happened to Tahu later, apparently the poisoned mask is different from an infected mask. Somehow.
I think
No,
he's
I knew
referring
that.
to Lewa from Anog.
Yeah, but then I just remembered that was a different mask.
That was a separate
Yeah,
one.
different
that
mask.
wasn't his mask.
Masks are weird.
Well, whatever the
but
case,
yeah,
it
so-
apparently takes the power of 6 fucking Toa to cleanse a mask.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why the Turaga have just been harvesting and keeping these Kraata in stasis. They're trying to research them, but you know it's kind of hard to research slugs when you're working with sticks and rocks and shit.
Now, but before we leave the Kenny-Nui shit, since we're still on that a little bit,
Yeah.
I wanted to bring up, and this part in the movie makes this blatantly apparent, the next 2 movies, they aged pretty well. They look pretty good by today's standards. Mask of Light, the environmental design is awful.
I was watching.
The zoom out of Kenny-Nui, the mountains amount to basically... yeah, let's extrude some spikes with the terrain editor and call it a day.
I was watching the 60 FPS version, and dear God, I was getting some serious reboot vibes from how just poorly done the CGI is.
The character models are great, but the environments are low poly, low detail, and even lower textured.
Yeah.
It was weird to me as well how
definitely.
they talked, because like their mouths stretched like skin. Are they made of like stretchy metal?
Yes, protodermis is
Oh,
fairly
they're
malleable.
made out of They're made out of protodermis.
Has it ever been confirmed? I don't quite remember.
Yes,
I don't think it has been confirmed
everything
yet,
is made of
but-
protodermis.
Yeah, literally
Yeah.
everything is made of protodermis, and it's just
Okay.
as malleable as skin as meat.
Think Transformers Beast Wars.
I
Yeah,
don't think that was ever established so far.
Well,
No, so I think this was
don't
only
even
ever
remember.
established in like encyclopedias and stuff. But yeah, everything's made out of protodermis. There's various different forms. There's solid, liquid, I think gaseous even,
Yeah, I
and of course energized.
Yeah,
I just wanted to touch one more on the environmental design. It really stands as a testament to just how little effort they clearly put into the environments. The canceled game, I know I'm bringing up Legend of Matanui again. The environments in this thing from 2 years earlier look more natural and realistic than the environments in this full CGI movie with millions of dollars in budget.
I don't know why these studios don't just reuse assets that they already have lying around. Like Lego had all of the files for Legend of Matanui, presumably, and still does.
And concept art.
And the concept art and everything. They couldn't just like, hey, we want this movie done really quick to cash in on Lord of the Rings. So here, have all the assets to this game that we never finished. It's got some really good environment models in it. You can make our movie not look like trash with this.
That actually brings up another point. Even the environmental design in Bionicle the game, which was a direct tie-in to the movie, looks better than the actual movie.
And the Bionicle the game had a very similar art style. It wasn't exactly the same, but like everything basically fits. So like,
And it's also worth noting that Bionicle the game is more unfinished than Legend of Matanui, and was in fact rushed out within a few months of its release. And was
In
solely
fact,
responsible for putting Argonaut into bankruptcy.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to mention that on the DVD extras there was a preview trailer for the game. Absolutely none of what's shown in the trailer is in the final game. Not a single frame of it.
The Lewa Mata level was actually rediscovered recently by Hexadecimal Mantis, and ironically, something we didn't expect when we dug it out and finally got it working in... Well, it was funny. The files for the game, for the level, are a completely different engine version than the final game, so that's why it couldn't be run. However, Bionicle the game runs on the same engine as another game called iNinja, and there was a demo of iNinja released for the PS2 months before it came out that just so happened to have the same engine version as the files for Lewa Mata's level in Bionicle the game. So Hexadecimal Mantis was able to port these files over to the demo disc containing iNinja and run them on that game's engine.
It's crazy.
And
Oh my gosh.
we found out Lewa doesn't even exist. You play this level as Gallimata.
Oh,
Huh.
all right,
Excuse me, did you say Lewa? I think you mean Lewa.
Lewis.
Lewis.
I have here the official guide to Bionicle released in 2003. I forgot about this until now. And I was looking through that book at the pronunciation guides. Lewa is not Lewa, it is Lewa. Emphasis on the second syllable. I don't know why.
Lewa.
Lewa.
Also, fun fact about that book, and I posted this in the general chat earlier, but there was actually 2 editions of that book. They're exactly the same from the outside, but there's a few differences in the pronunciation guides in them. In one of them, it has the stone Turaga's name listed as Oniwa, and the other one has him listed as Onuwa.
Oniwa.
Oni-chan? Yeah, so that probably contributed to
I
the
hate you all.
fandom not knowing how to pronounce that guy's name for so long.
Yep, and that's what started the meme that I have apparently.
Did anyone ever call him like Wanwa?
Yes.
Yes, actually.
A lot of people did.
Same with Wanapu. When I was really young, I called him One Poo.
One poo.
Yep. One.
But
poo.
then I was a
He has
dumb kid. But then I was a dumb kid who also thought Bionicle was pronounced Bionicle for the longest time.
I didn't know.
Well, I thought Matau was pronounced Matau for the longest time, but apparently it's Matau.
I didn't
Wait, no,
notice.
it's not.
What?
I
Oh, yes, it
I
is.
didn't notice.
I did
Once
not
again,
know that.
Okay, this is the thing, right? The movie that we'll get to, like the second movie, that pronounces it Matau. Every single pronunciation guide has it listed as Matau.
Yeah.
What manner of Berenstein Bears bullshit is this?
Well, different members of the story team had access to different information that Alistair Swinnerton had written for the original production Bible. So
pronunciation consistency is not Bionicle's strong suit.
Now I propose we make a new YouTube channel that's just a rip-off of Pronunciation Guide.
Yes.
This is like Reggie Ice and Reg Ice all over again.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so some of the writers of some of the media used the pronunciation rules that Alistair Swinnerton had created. Some of them didn't. Some of them based it on real languages. Some of them didn't base it on anything. Some of them, I don't know what the fuck they were on.
And then there was Greg.
And then there was Greg, our very own J.K. Rowling.
Our Lord and Savior.
You hear about J.K. Rowling recently canonized that Dumbledore...
Don't date the recording.
Dumbledore and Grindelwald went on a roller coaster and had lots of fun. She hasn't announced that.
That's more like it.
Yep, she hasn't announced that at the time of this recording. Therefore, it is in the future.
It'll happen eventually. But getting back to the movie.
Oh yeah, we're watching Harry Potter, right?
Getting back to the movie, 51 minutes in.
So we're still at the Rakshi attacking Takoro here.
Fuck!
Sounds like my progress at reading the book.
God damn it! Why am I
So Tahu. So Tahu proudly
I mentioned
announces
earlier that this movie and book combined have some of the most notes we've ever taken for any of these recordings, and this is going to be like double the length of anything we've done so far because of it.
What about you?
apologies in advance, viewers.
Is it really
Tahu.
Is it really apologies in advance when you're 51 minutes in?
Okay, well, apologies in the middle. You can stop listening now if you want.
Implying that they haven't already.
Yeah, so, anyway, Tahu proudly announces, none have breached Takoro's gates before. Tahu, what about the Tarnok Khal?
None have breached.
That one climbed over.
Okay.
Tanok Cal isn't a Rakshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, alright, Tahu. Alright.
Hey, it's
You keep
better
believing
than
in
his
your wall.
It's better
Okay.
than his previous statement from the last book of, "Hey everyone, you can all go home now. Tahu is here."
Yep. So basically, what Tahu said was, "No Rakshi have ever wall before, but I am a wall, so wall."
We built this
Yeah.
wall to keep the Bow Rock out, and now we'll keep the Rakshi out too. Damn immigrants.
Yeah.
But the Rakshi just flies straight over the wall, and he's like, oh, shit, well, now what do we do?
On their invisible bikes, because this is Axel F.
Oh no, they are the bikes. They are the bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What?
Rakshi can
get
fly.
used to that, by the way, because it gets even more ridiculous in the second movie.
Rakshi,
Oh, yeah.
Rakshi, they're snake monsters that can turn into hover bikes for some reason.
Yep. So the battle goes really badly for the Toa, and Gali's like, okay, let's just hang back for now
It's
and,
time
you
to
know,
get the
maybe
fuck outta
escape.
here.
Yeah. And Tahu ain't too happy about that, but they do, and they evacuate everyone, and then the whole city just sinks into the lava.
Yeah.
They don't
There's
even.
no real explanation for how that happened.
No.
Yeah, especially considering that the entire back of the city, which you can clearly see in the sinking scene, canonically is built into the wall of the mountain and connects directly to Onukoro.
The Rakshi are very strong, and they
Like
separated the city.
they would have had to have like sheared off half the face of the mountain.
They are very strong.
To be fair, there is a Rakshi of disintegration and a Rakshi of fragmentation.
Yeah.
Which is confusing.
There's like two Rakshi with redundant make things
Who
not
needs
there.
Bow-Rock?
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good point, actually.
Well, see, because the Makuta were made by the Rakshi were made by the Makuta to fuck with the Toa. The Borak were made by different people to do different things that we'll know about later.
I mean, I could make a different point about the Makuta, but I'm not gonna get into that now.
I
guess Makuta was just incubating his livers this whole time.
yeah.
Makuta did actually, in the movie, say at one point something along the lines of, "Must I awaken the creatures that must never see the light of day?" Like,
He's really protective of his baby boys.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna talk about this quite briefly because this isn't really like spoilers or anything, but I find it amazing later on in the series, just like Rakshi are this like horrible biggest threat the Toa have ever faced, and later on in the series, Rakshi appearing is just Tuesday.
They're generic mooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That happens a lot.
Well, it's because Takua apparent that we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, no. So anyway,
quickly before we move on from Takoro, I would like to mention Turaga Eyebrows beating the Murloc with a stick like a grumpy old man.
Yeah.
He is the most powerful. He's the only person that managed to beat one back.
Yeah.
That one is a very...
Actually, yeah, he is the only character in the movie to directly hit a Rakshi.
Yep, it's a very good reaction gift, that one.
And this marks the end of Lego's non-violence policy.
And that Rakshi is...
I guess
that
so.
Rakshi is just so confused about this guy hitting him that he just stands there taking it like...
He's such a Chad,
Yeah.
he just takes it.
No, I like to think that he's just so confused, like, is this geezer really hitting me with a stick? And he's just standing there waiting for this guy to just run off so we can kill him. And I love it. That is the most character that these guys ever get. Aside from when Makuta summons more of them and you see them trying to fight each other until the third one shows up.
So yeah, while all this is happening, Harley is back, and she's like, "Oh shit, I gotta get out of here too,"
Oh, no, she never left.
she runs off as well. No, she did.
No,
She didn't die.
There is a conflict in canon here because according to like actual canon, she never left Takoro after the Coley match.
Well,
wait, but the game happens. Oh,
she gotta get those crystals sometime.
you know what? We'll just say Wizard did it. Fuck it.
Okay.
I don't know what that even means. A wizard did what? What am I talking about?
Everything. So everyone evacuates, the city sinks into the lava, Tahu's all sad, and then smash cut to Takua and Jala just walking through the jungle, as you do.
Yeah, Takua complaining about it.
Yeah, Takua complaining about all the bugs and stuff, and then Jala's like, no, it's not so bad.
Even though everyone used to hate Takua for wanting to wander around the place, and now everyone seems to love everything that is... It's not consistent.
I don't have a destiny, only 'cause you won't stand still long enough to make one.
I think that was the most American you've ever sounded.
That was terrible. Don't quote that.
Oh, I will.
Chip, try to say hamburger in an American accent. I want to hear this.
Hamburger.
Oh, it was really good.
Wow, did we get Hugh Laurie on the podcast now? Damn.
Or
I don't know. Maybe we did. Maybe we didn't.
What about Betty Dick Cambersnatch?
Anyway, moving on.
Coming, bitch?
So a bear attacks them. They haven't dealt with bears before. Jala's like, "Hey, I'm a Tahu fanboy now. Look at this thing that Tahu does when he wrestles bears."
And Tuco's like, what? Tahu does that? What?
Tahu does what?
Yeah.
What the fuck is a bear?
So this is perhaps the biggest departure of Jala's character from the previous books, where he was, the captain of the guard, still responsible guy.
He fucking jumped the Borak call of melting.
Yeah.
And snatched his fucking brain before and saved Tahu's fucking life.
And now he's just gripping onto a bear's ass for dear life.
And here he's just fighting a bear and he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, Jala.
But don't worry,
that's your-
Lewa comes along and he breaks out a knife to finish the job, apparently, except when he doesn't.
Yeah, I can fight a
Because
fucking...
apparently, you know, in contrast to the book explaining more things in the movie, here, they just completely removed the fact that he pulled a fucking knife on this bear.
I thought that was hilarious because I didn't remember that happened, and he was like, well, the bear's trapped, I guess I better finish when I started, and he's all sad about it, like, he thinks he's just supposed to do this. like
Again, the end of Lego's non-violence policy, because that's not even like a fucking like, you got swords, you got axes, clearly like Toa tools. This is a fucking shank that he pulled out. It's a fucking like automatic knife.
It's a fucking flip knife. And Leia was like, what the fuck are you doing?
This bear is my friend.
It was just protecting itself.
No, I think I could have sworn that something somewhere establishes this bear is a mother and just hunting food for her kids or something.
No, but it is established that this bear is a recurring character.
It is to what?
Yeah. Yep.
I forgot about that.
Why is there a bear?
So I believe
And
in the
her
original
name is Gralloch.
Oh right.
Yeah, so in the
yes,
in the movie,
bear.
she was just referred to as the Gralloch ash bear, implying that Gralloch was the name of the species. But later it was confirmed that no, this particular bear is named Gralloch.
It might as well be the name of the species, since apparently every bear we see in the canon happens to be this one bear, specifically.
Well, I know what we need to put in the thumbnails for this episode. Bears! Thousands of them!
No, don't say bears or else we'll get sued by a guy.
We'll get sued by the SCP Foundation?
No.
The town that got fucked by bears?
I was making a reference to Greg from The Completionist, but I didn't want to say his name because I would get it confused with Greg the Greg farce man.
What does he have to do with bears?
What does Greg have to do with bears?
One of his famous quotes.
Oh, well.
He just goes, bears!
Ah. Well, see, it's been literal years since
Yeah,
I've watched
yeah.
anything he was in, and now you can't technically anymore. So
I downloaded all the episodes.
I couldn't be bothered personally. Although
Gerard
I am looking forward to Gerard eventually having to suffer through Sneak King again.
I'm looking forward to him playing that DS wedding simulator.
Fun fact, I actually have a copy of Sneak King, and I got it new last year.
Yeah, Liam's trying to
Wow.
build a summoning circle to summon the video game Satan.
Yeah, I have a collection of terrible games. The other day, I just added Spyro Enter the Dragonfly to my collection. Apparently, the Burger King across from the college down here just had a box of copies of Sneak King collecting dust in the back room.
What an interesting place.
So I actually got the thing brand new, still in its shrink wrap, from a Burger King in 2016, or 2017 rather.
I think one of the lost episodes of Doctor Who was recovered in the basement of a McDonald's. It was either a McDonald's or a Mormon church. I don't know how those two things got conflated, but it's either one or the other.
Alright. So Lewa decides to quick teach the boys how to fly a Gokko bird, to which Takua's like, oh, I've been a second before. Nice continuity, by the way.
If you ride with me, there'll be no fuck walking.
There will be no
Just
fuck
air
walking.
flying.
That reminds me, I know Leiwa's voice actor, it reminds me, like, it's a bit controversial, especially with LJ, but...
He sounds like a fucking leprechaun.
I remember
I
remember you mentioned last time that, you know, you're not familiar with Bionicle at all, so this is your first introduction to it, and you were very anxious to hear and see what these characters looked and acted like, since you never really had any context before. How do you feel about that now? What is your answer to that?
I can actually picture a lot of them much better. I didn't expect Turaga eyebrows. That was a shock.
Yeah, that
I don't think anyone expected Turaga eyebrows, to be
Also,
perfectly
the fact
honest.
that the eyebrows are prehensile and you can move them at will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But,
Anyway,
Those eyebrows on top of the
I
mask.
love Leiwa's voice actor.
Oh
I
god,
don't know,
oh god. Now I'm imagining fucking like Vinny's Speed Luigi, but with Vakama and his eyebrows instead of the tongue.
Hell yeah. Anyway, I love Leiwa's voice actor in this, and I don't
Curtis,
know
you need to draw that for the thumbnail.
We
need a
Leiwa's
speed
voice actor is
Vakama.
one of- Leiwa's voice actor in this is one of those, like, it's so bad it's good things.
I always imagined Leiwa would sound like a court jester, and he kind of does here. So I love him. I love him, and I don't know why everyone's bitching about it.
But what if Leiwa but Tommy Wiseau?
No.
Haha, Windfly.
Not time for foot walking. Only windfly.
Haha, mixed glass.
Ha ha.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, hi, Marka.
You're tearing me apart, Hallie.
Yeah. I always imagined Leiwa to be a... I don't know,
Oh,
I
my
imagined
God.
him having a younger sounding voice.
Oh no, I got brain checked by Cthulhu.
Okay, what about the voice actor for Leiwa in Journey to One? Do you
Yeah, I was
think he
thinking
fits
that.
better.
Oh hi.
That one works a lot
I
better.
can't even remember
Oh
him,
hi, Crom.
honestly.
Also, this is the saddest scene in the entire movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because they leave the crab
yeah.
I
behind.
know.
They leave.
They
the-
don't. They don't ride the crab.
They don't ride the crab. It's the saddest thing, and just it violates the canon so hard.
I guess Takua trusts Puku to find her way home because he doesn't know Takoro's gone.
Except she doesn't do that.
Imagine if she had just
comes
gone
and
home.
finds him, doesn't she?
She might.
Yeah, imagine if she had gone to Takoro and she's like, oh,
Maybe
shit,
she
it's
did.
all
Maybe
lava.
My headcanon, no, you know what? My headcanon now is that Puku goes back to Takoro and she finds it gone. She's like, well, fuck. So she goes up the mountain and takes the cable car from Motonui Online Game.
You know what? I like that. I like just like.
Yep, that's good.
Like Puku goes all the way from Lakoro to the remains of Takoro. She sees his gun. She's like, nope, and then just rides a cable car to Kokoro, where her buddies happen to be.
Yeah. So the boys, they crash the bird into Kowahi.
Apparently, bird's dead.
Because, it never really gets up, does it?
It does in the book,
oh well.
but not in the movie.
Oh,
I don't remember
so
that.
in the book's timeline, the bird lives.
Boomer
This
will
is like
live.
Ocarina of Time. This is branching timeline. Does the bird get up or not?
Shit, what if all of the media?
Strogan Nurse, Goko Bird.
What if all of the different forms of tie-in media all take place at different timelines?
That's kind of how I always saw it.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it.
Also, I just want to point out that what is with the weird changes in what birds are?
Oh.
Like in Motonui
oh,
Online
yeah.
Game, what Takua actually rode was a Kahu. And then the other Matoran were riding Kawa, and now the Gukko is something completely different.
Oh God.
And
Okay,
and
so-
then the whole Maori thing contributed to that, but then they re-retconned it.
Yeah.
Back to
Yeah.
Well, that actually brings up an
So
interesting
eventually,
point
what they
about
retconned it to.
I was just going to say that brings
Yeah.
up another point about Motonui Online Game, that at some point they changed like the cutscene where you call the Kahu, they changed it into a Kawa, and they changed the map and the animation and everything. But both of those animations are still in the game, and all you have to do to change
I
them
didn't
is just
notice
rename
that.
the file.
Would it have been so hard to just hire consultants from the Maori culture like Disney did with Coco? Would it have been so hard?
You'd think they'd do that,
It's like
but
when
Here's the thing. Back then, cultural appropriation wasn't as, like, for one, the internet was new, so it wasn't something that was really, like, talked about on a widespread basis in what would have been the dominant media at the time.
Yeah.
And two, it just wasn't really something that was considered to be an issue.
Yeah, fast forward a little bit less than a decade later, Mexico gets real mad about Disney trademarking Dia de los Muertos, so they hire Mexico to be animation consultants for Coco. The whole country, all of Mexico.
Yep.
No, just a specific guy who made a poster of Mickey Mouse as Godzilla. They hired that guy, and Coco was good for it. And that's what Lego should have done with Bionicle, just hire some Maori people to actually, make sure that it's not racist.
Speaking of Lego and Disney, just gonna go briefly off here for a second. Curtis, when you're reading that, when you're editing this, put up a picture of that awesome new Steamboat Willie set.
It does look cool.
And then put up a copy of the photo that's corrected because it has the wrong number on it.
Well. Yep. So
and
that's
then
that
put
there.
up one that says Bionicles. I'll make you that.
Okay.
So,
yeah, eventually what it was retconned to with the birds thing is that both Kahu and Kawa are subspecies of Gokko.
Great.
They look
That is
absolutely nothing alike.
yep.
The
Four-winged
Gokko
hummingbird.
The Gokko has 4 wings and no
It's a four-winged
legs.
hummingbird.
Liam, have you even looked at a Pokemon?
Yeah. So anyway,
Pokemon.
let's see.
Lost
where
in
were we?
drifts.
Yeah, so they are lost in the drifts. They come across some frozen Borok, which they're really scared of, even though they know Borok aren't a threat
Why
I
do
anymore.
really wish we could have seen more of that model. But
Yeah,
they really
it's very-
They obscured it so hard in the snow that you can just barely make anything out.
Yeah, why are the Borok even
Yeah.
frozen? They couldn't possibly.
Why are they
have been
even
a threat.
out?
They couldn't have possibly been a threat to Kopaka at the time. Was he
That
just
brings up another interesting point. These movies have just an absolute phobia of showing what any of the characters' faces look like behind their masks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in the deleted scene where Takua gets knocked down during the Coley match.
Yeah.
I got knocked down, but I get up again. Shumba this thing.
The closest I've ever seen, and Curtis, I will send you these images to put up after on the screen, is pre-production animation tests from the movie have a slightly different design for TuragaNuva. Well, I say slightly different, but at that point he still had fucking gears, so... But, I always thought the TuragaNuva looked odd to me, and I couldn't quite place it. Well, these pre-production stills apparently make it a lot easier to see. The TuragaNuva is designed basically like the How. Everything below the nose is just removed, and you can see the face underneath. And in the case of Lewa, that encompasses basically his entire mouth and his chin, which in the pre-production images are still colored silver, but they painted it green in the movie, and it blended in with the mask so well that you barely even notice it. And I didn't notice that it was part of his face because of that. But that is probably the most we will ever see of the characters' faces in the Miramax style.
Well, there we go. Maybe they were going for like a Spider-Man sort of thing, where it's like anyone can be the hero under the mask, so they just don't show them. So you can project your own
could
face
be
onto
the
those
robot.
grotesque robot bodies.
Yes, I too have a cubular head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And glowing eyes.
I too don't apparently have have movable lips if I'm not wearing a mask.
Yep.
I too have
so
my mouth
anyway.
represented by a glowing light.
I too fall into a coma if I'm not wearing something over my face.
So yeah, the lads, they find Kopaka just wandering around in the snowdrifts.
You know what? I just thought maybe he was using the Borok for target practice, since they're not really a threat.
Could have been.
But they can be programmed to move and stuff.
That'd be interesting. But yeah, in the movie, Kopaka's he just walks away. But in the book, they actually give him a bit more explanation. He's like, maybe you should come to Kokoro and find out stuff about
You're
the
the
Mask of Light.
chronicler, right? You come to Kokoro and bring that other guy with you, I guess.
I didn't
And,
realize
I
too
don't-
that Kopaka
I don't know
looks
what
very
you're
scary.
I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what that shiny thing is. I don't give a crap that Kokoro is gone. Just come follow me.
Basically Kopaka in a nutshell.
Just follow me until I get bored. The end.
Pretty much.
And no talking.
But then they find out that Kokoro has had some trouble with the Rakshi that we don't get to see on screen. In fact, we barely get to see Kokoro itself. It's very...
First, we get a scene of the Toa convening at the ruins of Tekoro. Except
yeah, that's
they're
right.
not. Another weird difference from the book. Now, I don't know where this is supposed to be according to the book. All it says is the Toa convene at the main temple, which I can only assume they're referring to Kininui.
Yeah, they do refer to Kininui as the main temple earlier in the book, so I guess it's there.
Kininui,
But why?
Close to Isn't Kininui like close to Tokoro?
Technically, Kininui is close to everything. It's at the literal center of the island.
Yeah, isn't Tokoro volcano center island?
Which is weird because, like, aren't there, like, technically 2 maps of Motunui with, like, Kininui in 2 different locations?
Oh god,
Probably. Yeah. Although, speaking of maps, this movie does do a pretty good job of keeping the geography straight in terms of, like, Takuro and Jala's journey.
It keeps it straight,
because they go from
keep it looking
Takoro.
good.
Well, yeah. I mean, they do go from Takoro to Lakoro to Kokoro, then underground to Onukoro, and, you know, they follow a fairly logical sequence of events as they circle around the island.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
Of course.
Onukoro is nowhere near Kokoro, and according to the movie, Kowahi is directly above it.
Can we just talk about how... Okay, so Tahu's being all emo because everything he knows and love is gone, and Gally's all like, Tahu, your mask, and he's all like, my home is gone, and
You
you're
worry
angry
about scratches?
About tiny scratches, and like you can see, he looks like his face is fucking rotting, and his eye is all fucking green.
Tahu got pink eye.
Ooh.
So yeah, we didn't exactly go over that. Basically, Gally fucked up and shot him, and he got attacked by the fucking Layrock.
Yeah, the rock
When they were
shaped
back in
poison,
Kokoro.
and so like his face looks like it's fucking rotting, and his eye is all fucked up, and he doesn't even notice, and he thinks that all that's wrong is that his mask got like a tiny scratch on it. No, man, it's not a scratch. You look like a fucking zombie.
Tahu, I'm sorry, but you got fucking gangrene.
Yeah.
And the books kind of make it like it appears spontaneous every now and then disappears.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. In the book, they do mention it sort of fading and then coming back, but only once, and then it's just there forever.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's up with that.
In the movie, it just progressively gets worse and worse until like the only visual difference between his mask and what I presume an infected mask would look like in this canon is that it's very noticeably green in this. If the Miramax had made a movie about the infected mask art, I imagine they would have like a red or an orange tint.
So
They probably look like Makoto in this movie.
Point, actually, because there is an animation test from Creative Capers from even before the other Lewa things that I brought up earlier. And you probably recognize this one. It was used in a German trailer for Mask of Light. And it was an animation test of Lewa Mata. And he was infected in that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I've never seen it.
Not to be confused with the other infected Lewa animation test, which we actually don't know where it came from.
I've never seen Germany.
I'm sorry, that just reminds me of the fucking the German. There was a German promo video, or it wasn't necessarily a promo video. It was like an early pitch for or maybe it wasn't German. Maybe it was actually Danish. It was either way. It was like a pitch video for the Bow-Rock where they were still called Project Bugs.
Oh yeah.
And all I remember from that was just the most deadpan part of the entire thing, where there's like this dramatic pause, and then the narrator just says, "Die Borak coming."
Great. When you stay at the hotel resort at Legoland, Germany, they leave a Lego brick on your pillow.
That's adorable.
Yeah. It's one of the only promotional bricks that isn't just like you buy it at a thing and then you have it. It's like, no, they give it to you for a big special event.
I'm sorry, I misheard you as you were saying that, and I thought you said you have to go up to them and say "Die Borak coming," and then they leave it on your pillow.
Okay, hypothetically, I don't know how or why I would ever be in Germany going to Legoland, but if for whatever reason that comes to pass, I promise you, I will say when I check in at the hotel for the first time, I will say, Dvorak coming. In that
And that is, I think you've accidentally discovered the secret way of acquiring the Sterling Silver Chronicle.
You know what? I will, if I remember, I will gladly report to you exactly what the hotel manager's response is to me saying Dvorak coming in a Uganda Knuckles voice.
Just like
Oh,
that
yes,
one
I'm
time you
dying.
ordered USB-powered socks.
I haven't bought the socks yet, and I won't buy the socks until David Lynch directs a Star Wars.
Moving on!
Moving along.
Yeah.
Hey,
So getting back to
David
Kopaka,
Lynch should direct a
he's telling the boys that, oh, Kokoro is, like, real fucked up. We should probably, like, go see what's up. And then the Rakshi attack. And he's like, okay, you guys go slide on my shield. Go away. And then Jala's like, oh no, I don't do that. But then he does do that.
Yeah, and Kopaka doesn't really have... Kopaka gets fucking knocked out, but he's still...
Yeah, Kopaka, as he's sliding down the mountain on his power skates, because he's Shadow the Hedgehog.
Anyway, he gets knocked out, but he's still single-handedly
Have you played
defeats...
Legend of Matanui?
Yeah.
He still single-handedly defeats the 3 Rakshi and much easier than all of the Toa combined defeat all 6 Rakshi, so that's weird. Yeah, just Kopaka's
yeah, and,
great. He seems to be able to just flash freeze anything by touching it. I love him.
I mean, they do imply at various points in the story that, like, Kopaka is probably the most powerful Toa.
Yeah, he's super good. He can flash freeze practically everything.
Or at least the most competent with his powers.
Yeah.
So, yes, speaking of that scene where he flash freezes the Rakshi, interesting parallelism here that I only noticed on this time reading through, of when Takua's paddling across the lake. It's just like when he was paddling across the lava at the start of the movie.
Poetry, it rhymes.
Yeah.
I couldn't find water if I fell out of a canoe.
Yeah.
I hate the jungle. It's so coarse and rough and bugs everywhere.
Fucking damn it. Ha ha! Prequel
so, yeah.
memes.
Ha-ha!
So yeah, after Kopaka freezes some Rakshi in the ice, and he's just like, "Hey, Takua, good job. I'ma leave now. Good luck if the Rakshi get out of that ice." So then, smash cut to the Bozo Bros traveling from Kowahi to
I
Onuashi.
forgot about these guys.
They are total bros, I love it.
Yeah.
Yep. So they just meet up with Tahu, who's in the caves for some
And
reason.
he's an angry boy.
Yeah, and he's like, "Look, guys, Takoro's fucking gone. You should, like, go hang out with the other Tamatoran. I don't know where they're gonna live now, but go away." And then they immediately run into Takua, who's down there, because him and Jala are going to Onukoro now.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Tahu was just in the caves in Kauai for some reason, alone.
Yes. This is never explained.
Huh.
Did they just have an intern write these guys' story? He's like, "Hey, you, unpaid intern that we're gonna toss into a volcano at the end
It
of
really is. It really does read like a bad fanfic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to be fair, this is, like, leading up to the part where Tahu and Gali and the others are in Onukoro, so I guess they were on their way.
Well, then where is Gally then?
I forgot. When does the comics start?
There's a few comics. That's in a couple chapters' time.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, then the bros immediately meet Takua because him and Jala are wandering through the caves. They get separated because, I don't know, I guess Takua's not paying attention. And he's like, "Hey guys, you're here. Look at these freaky leaves I found. I'm gonna freak out Jala with them."
The ones that he makes bunny ears with.
Yeah. And the guys are just like, oh, okay, sure,
Whatever.
You know where our Taka is? No, fuck off. And then Takua quits his job because he gets scared of the dark.
Yeah. Well, it's really easy to get scared of the dark and quit your job when the dark talks to you and tells you to not quit, and tells you to quit your job.
True.
It's kind of
yeah,
easy.
so,
It's
but
kind
Makuta
of easy
appears.
to get scared of the dark when the dark tells you everyone you've ever loved is going to die.
Takua,
Yeah.
quit your job. Okay.
Or get fucked.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Go on workers' comp.
Would you like to play a game?
How do I hang up?
How do I hang this thing up? I don't do this often.
This is pretty new. I only got it last year.
How did you not appreciate freedom of the press on this island?
I shit you not. I
have no friends, no one calls.
Guys, I shit you not, and I don't even know if he wants me telling you this. Swirt called me the other day on Discord because he was out and he wanted to see if he could on his phone. And he forgot to hang up, and he answered a phone call from someone else. And I don't remember what they were talking about, but when he was done, he realized he hadn't hung up on me yet, and he was like, "Did you hear all that?" And was like, "Yeah, man, but don't worry, I wasn't paying any attention. I just thought it was funny."
Well, what does that have to do with any of this?
We're talking about phones and not knowing how to hang them up, Liam.
But
What does that have to do with Makuta?
Because Curtis is the joke.
We made a joke about him not knowing how to hang up. Remember? That happened 5 minutes ago.
You happened 5
Holly,
minutes ago.
are you still here?
I did.
Holly, are you still here? Go away, Holly. Stop being in the story, please.
oh yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
so then Takua fucking quits his job and sends
Yeah.
and just
And Jala goes it alone.
yeah.
And Makuta spawns 3 more demons. Because that's what he does now, I guess. And Harley's still in the story. Stop, Harley.
But someone has to be
She's
Takua's
putting crystals.
chronicler.
Do you think if the movie went on any longer than it did, that he'd summon more Rakshi until all 42 of them?
Well, I was gonna say, like, why did he
Maybe.
stop at 6?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
He didn't grow enough livers.
he's a
He
shape.
could have
He's a
he could have
shape-
divide and conquer
He's a
each village.
shape-shifting mass of randomly assembled Lego pieces. He could probably spawn all 42 different kinds of Rakshi at once and just murder the fuck out of all of the Toa and the Matoran combined.
Yeah, but you've got to realize, right?
He could definitely spawn 42 different livers.
You've got
They
to
grow
realize
back!
that so far, through
know
the
what?
course of the story, the
You know what,
last
though?
3 books have all been
You know what though? The real
him
reason
saying shit.
The
Sorry, go
real
on.
reason he only does 3 at a time is probably because he doesn't, like, he has to grow them manually. Like, we're not joking.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I was
they
thinking.
probably are, like, there's probably some natural process in his body, whatever his body even is. Because
We'll get into that later.
it
So
gets,
far,
it gets
definitely.
complicated. So, basically, Makuta just...
Farts!
Makuta farts. Makuta generates. Basically, Makuta's essence coagulates and forms slugs, and that's where Rakshi come from. And I guess he
Pretty
can. He can only pull 3 Kraata out of himself at a time.
So far
that's
over the
how
course
I-
of the story, though, right? All 3 books, it's just been one after the other. First he sends the Shadow Toe and all that. Then he sends the Borok. This is like the day after they've defeated the Shadow Toa. And then finally, like, book 3, he sends the what are they called again? The Rakshi.
The Rakshi.
The Rakshi.
Oh.
He sends the Rakshi, like, 3 weeks later. It's like, he must at this point just be like, how the fuck do I do this?
But according to the next comic section
What the
from the
hell
book,
will it
it's
take?
been literally years.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I guess he has just been making these things for years, but maybe he only had 6 Rakshi armors.
No, what I was
and,
getting
you know,
at
he
is...
had a bunch of Kraata.
I know we haven't gotten to this comic yet, but I'm going to quote this now. I am Makuta, the Master of Shadows. For years, the Toa have believed me defeated. Pardon me?
Maybe he's referring to before the Toa arrived.
I thought he was referring to the original Toa.
Look, I don't care what Greg. Look, I don't
What
care.
original Toa?
Look, I don't
Oh,
care. what
I'm
Greg-
sorry. Who was?
Then who was
Look,
phone?
I don't care what Greg says. I think it's just too ridiculous to think that all of this shit happens in like 5 minutes of each other. It's just gotta be.
Yeah.
There's gotta be time between stuff, or else.
Because one day of peace doesn't really. You don't need a Holyfield celebration for just one day of peace.
Yeah, I like to think that the Borak took some time to just all of them wake up at once. I like to think that the Rakshi plan took longer than fucking 12 seconds. I just like to think,
Yeah.
hey, maybe all of this didn't happen
In a year and a half.
In a year and a fucking half.
Yeah. So actually, real quick, so we are getting to this this part where all the Kraata are in gay baby jail, as they are. And so yeah, Levi, you might have wondered why we said specifically 42 different Rakshi. That's because it's been confirmed in canon that there are exactly 42 different powers that Kraata can have. We've seen these 6 being fear, disintegration, fragmentation, hunger, anger, and poison. But the others get as stupid as weather control, elasticity,
And they
invulnerability.
Luffy bugs.
and they
Yeah.
and they evolve within 6 stages.
And their Pokemon. Okay.
Yep.
There was a fucking chart back in the day.
There's a Rakshi.
Yep,
of
and they
a-
actually made these 42 Kraata, but not 42
Oh, yeah.
Rakshi sets.
There's a Rakshi of Embiggening.
No, these were collectibles.
Like, this shit made the release chart for Watch Dogs look simple.
Can you combine them for new effects
What
like
about
a
the release? What
tower
about the
defense?
release? What about the release chart for Anthem? Did it make how does that compare?
I don't fucking know. I haven't seen the chart for Anthem.
I don't think I
Literally
want
nobody could figure out how Anthem was being released when it came out. Anyway, yeah. So
I just posted in the
yeah,
chat
Rakshi
here.
of Beginning. There's a Rakshi of Smallming. There's the only other Rakshi that they actually released as a toy was Heat Vision.
I'm sorry. The Rakshi of Dodge?
Yep. Oh, don't forget the Rakshi of Rubber Band.
Don't forget the Rakshi of slowness.
Don't forget I can't even think. There are basically every power that they could think of that they didn't want to make into a mask because it was too stupid. They put it in.
Oh, and then we also have Shadow Kraata and Darkness.
But who could forget the Kraata of Nike shoes?
So basically, after a Kraata evolves to stage 7, it turns purple and gains the ability to infect masks from a distance.
And then stage 8, apparently, where it just puts on basketball shoes.
And then stage over 9,000 where it becomes Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
Yep.
That was canon, by the way.
So yeah.
Ultra Instinct
Anyway,
Shaggy is canon.
So now we let's see, where are we? Oh yes, At Last TuragaNuva, this comic is called. About that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
should actually,
So,
TuragaNuva, if you're watching, apparently, I was told by Swart yesterday that apparently whoever made the PDFs for the comics didn't merge the layers. So if you ever want to redo any of these and just remove those text boxes you don't want to use, it's as simple as just exporting the PDFs to a different format and then removing them in Photoshop.
Oh, interesting.
Well, you're not TuragaNuva.
I said if he's
Well, that
watching.
could be interesting for future editions of this very book. So yeah,
That's
that's
why
good.
I brought it up.
I'm trying to
Yeah,
I'm trying
very
to
nice.
open this chart, but I closed Chrome, so it's not working.
Okay. So anyway, Kopaka, meets some more Rakshi, and then he gets really scared. Oh no, the Tor are going to laugh at me. Oh, I'm going to die of embarrassment.
Kopaka, the person we have called Batman, his greatest fear is
being made fun of at the schoolyard.
His greatest fear is people laughing at him.
Yep.
Look, he didn't slip, alright?
Mummy, he called
Alright,
me
at least he
icicle.
didn't slip.
Oh no!
Called me at the toe of cold breezes.
Oh no, I have a book report today and I forgot to wear pants. Also, I'm a robot. Why am I wearing pants?
So he's actually holding off 6 Rakshi right now, and he's holding them off pretty
He's
well.
Badass.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
But thankfully the other Toa come in to help.
Oh,
And,
fuck.
you know, even out the times a little.
Help. No, they make everything worse.
Well, yeah. But, okay, apparently there's an Onumatoran underground infected mask pit
Apparently,
where
yep.
they keep all the infected masks. Okay.
The Onomatoran know many secrets.
They did the same thing to the Borok, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but this is a
True.
secret location where nobody knows except for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like a drug trafficking ring.
Hey kid, you want some mask?
You want to get mask?
Hey kid, you want to get fucking makuted?
Hey kids, I have a hot dog.
Yeah.
You ever want to feel
so,
like those
anyway.
Rahi from last year? Yeah, you know you do.
Hey kids, pizza.
They were clearly on something, and now you can be too.
So anyway, the Toa do manage to fend off the Rakshi somehow, and they go back underground to be in Onukoro, I guess, where Takua, he's there, and he sees the Rakshi being there, and he's like, I better fight them. Oh no, I can't fight them. But
Fly!
Yeah. And then Lewa comes in, picks up him and Puku at the same time.
Looks absolutely ridiculous in the movie too, because it's not like he's holding onto Puku and Takua is like holding onto Puku as well, like dangling from her. No, he's got Takua in one arm, Puku in the other, while also still holding his air katanas in wing formation.
Maybe he's using the Mask of Strength.
It
I
just
guess.
looks so fucking dumb, and that like I showed some of my friends the Mask of Light like last year, because they hadn't seen any of the Bionicle movies since they were kids. This scene by itself, never mind becoming an in-joke amongst the group for the last year, is probably the sole reason why they now refuse to watch any of the other movies in the series as well.
Wow.
So I'm looking into this Nike Kraata, and apparently it's non-canon.
Well, that's no
Yeah,
fun.
whatever.
It could have been used for a certain
So
character later on.
pairs of Nike shoes with the Gurok design. I think that's the blue one. Yeah, it's the blue one.
Yep.
The blue Rakshi design Nike shoes. There were Nike shoes, by the way, for our listeners that don't know. There were Bionicle Nike shoes tie-in.
There were also electric toothbrushes with the decapitated
Oh,
heads
yeah.
of the Toa on them.
Now I had the toothbrush.
I had Golly.
I had
we
Tahoe.
have one of the followers of our Bionicle account. It is his sworn mission in life to find a pair of these shoes. Anyway, so the Nike Kraata were a non-canon, transparent neon orange stage 1 Kraata. Apparently, they were all stage 1 Kraata. Apparently, all of them.
Basically, it was the fruit. It was the Kraata of fruit gummies.
Yeah. Basically, if you made a fruit gummy from the same mold as the Kraata, it would come out looking like these ones that were packaged.
You know,
with
someone
shoes.
in mask posting actually did that.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
Link me to that later, and I will like the fuck out of it. Heart react, because that's my deal. I only heart react stuff on Facebook.
And I
No
just
one's
thought,
noticed yet. No one's noticed. This is my official announcement. I only ever heart stuff on Facebook. Only hearts. Only hearts.
And I just bought
Okay.
and I just bought myself a pair of those Nike shoes, UK 5.5 size.
Wait, what?
Nice.
What?
Brand new. I literally just bought the Nike, brand new.
Be sure to post them. Be sure to post them on Twitter.
Wait,
I hope it has that orange Kraata because it says it's brand new. So
What is the? I'm sorry. What's the difference between shoe sizes in the UK and the US? Because fucking 5.5.
Okay. The difference is 1.
Huh. You have really small.
Literally, it's just
No,
1
no,
point.
I'm
really
not
plus or
small
minus.
feet.
I'm not wearing them. These shoes are for kids.
Yeah, I don't think they came in adult sizes.
Well, then why would you reference the size specifically as if that was
know.
relevant?
I don't know.
It's like, my God, you have tiny feet.
Wait, I just thought of something. Could you make a Bionicle mock that could wear the shoes?
I'm pretty sure.
That'd be a
I'm pretty
big
sure
mock.
they would fit the Good Spirit robot.
Hell yes. Okay, well, now you
Yeah,
Charlie,
yeah.
if you're watching, put shoes on the robot.
Who?
Give him
Getting
Tim's.
back
Who are
to...
you talking about? There's Good Spirit Robot? What are you talking about?
I posted it in the server.
Link it to you
earlier.
later.
We'll get to it
Or
later.
rather, I posted it in the Beaverhouse server. My bad.
We'll get to it later. Moving
Anyway.
right along.
Yeah, moving right along. So Tahu's infection gets worse, and he gets taint all over himself.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gets
And,
a good dick taint all over himself.
And he gets real angry at the other Toa because of Rakshi anger
Yeah.
powers, even though he got poisoned with the poison
so what
powers.
happened was he got poisoned and angered, so that combined...
And now apparently in the books he's completely all poisoned.
Like, one...
Yeah, okay, so the poison put him on edge, and then the anger
Yeah,
just
so
tipped him
basically,
over.
one shot from any of the Rakshi seems to, like, just completely knock the fuck out of them. Just one shot. They all get one shotted by Rakshi all the time. And then fucking Tahu gets hit with the one Rakshi that their hits don't go away. So, like, he's just constantly being hit by the Rakshi of poison. And then the Rakshi of anger shows up and hits him again, and he's all like, I'm so angry and sick! I am a cranky boy, I need a nap!
And Kopaka gives
pretty
him
much.
that nap.
By flash freezing him just
Sure does.
like everything else!
Yeah, he becomes the new Toa of Ice.
Ah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. So they carry him off, and then the whole roof collapses in on Onua and Pohatu, so presumably
I love
they
this
die.
scene. Okay, so so the Rakshi are climbing up the cavern walls, and Pohatu throws his Toa tools at them that I guess are climbing claws that he never uses for that. Okay,
Yep.
and when they hit the walls, they're cartoon sound effects.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep, just
this
clang,
whole thing,
clang.
this whole sequence is just a Looney Tunes sketch with Bionicle characters.
Because you know what?
Because after
I was
because
sorry. I gave this movie so little credit. I didn't notice.
Onua, so Onua caves in a part of the cave on the Rakshi, and then Pohatu says, "Thank you, brother, but how did you make the cavern not cave in on us?" And then it starts caving in on them like a fucking Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah. Also, Pohatu, known user of the Mask of Speed, doesn't get out in time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Seems legit.
And this is the second time he's died in the last 2 books.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Fucking Looney Tunes!
Anyway,
Except this time,
let's see.
Kopaka doesn't give a shit.
And apparently,
well, he doesn't give a shit
the
until
best
later.
part is that we don't see them again until
The
apparently
end of the movie.
we don't see them again until the end of the movie when they claw their way up just for the final fight scene. Like we literally see them reach, just shove their hand out of the ground, and now they're there.
Yep.
Can I
So,
point out
anyway.
too that this is a very inopportune area for them to surface because it's in the middle of a fucking mountain. At any point, they could have just dug sideways and popped out that much sooner.
They probably
Yep.
they don't know that. This is so stupid.
Well, we did.
I'm like, if they've got Onua with them. Of course they could have known that.
Yeah, Onua can listen.
And Kopaka had the Mask of X-ray vision.
Yeah, Onua's like the fucking Lorax. He can speak with the trees or whatever. She's all like, and we are, the Earth is mad at me, so they're not telling me where we are right now. I guess we got to keep digging straight up.
Didn't they learn anything from Minecraft?
Also, there's this one really poorly animated scene where a Jollar delivers a line that Takua's voice actor says. I don't remember if that happens in Kokoro or not. We skipped over it.
Oh, I remember that.
There was this one really badly animated sequence of Kopaka looking at the boys, and then the boys say each other's lines.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Link that in the chat with a timestamp. I gotta see this shit.
Yeah, I didn't get the timestamp, but I'll rewatch the movie to get it for you.
Yeah, and put that on screen when we're doing this shit.
Yeah, definitely.
And everybody shut the fuck up so he has time.
How did you find us?
It was you who were following me.
We were?
Yeah, okay,
Right there.
we're done.
Okay, cool.
Moving right along.
Yeah. So, then, Gali finally decides to give Tahu the antidote she's been carrying around. Okay, so first of all, they strap him to a stone table and put swords in front of his neck. I don't know what this does exactly, but...
Okay, so what it does is they use their Toa tools to focus their powers, which apparently can heal stuff, and then Gali uses her powers to finalize the healing magics or whatever.
Sorry, go on.
I mean...
Oh, no, go ahead, sorry.
I just like the idea that they intimidate him into being more scared of them than he is of Makuta.
I do like that idea, but I like my idea better because it makes it less stupid. Because otherwise, unless my thing is accurate, what they're doing is wave swords in front of him, and maybe that'll fix it. Okay, it didn't work. Let's fucking waterboard him, and that'll fix him.
Yeah. Well, regardless of what they're actually doing, this is never explained. It just comes out of nowhere.
And it's still not really explained.
And apparently it does work.
Yeah, it just does take all the poison out of him, and also really tires Gali out, so she's got to stick her hands in a lake to recharge.
I like this scene and the attention to detail because she's actually visibly drained. She's turned gray like her mask would when she was elementally drained by the Borak cow.
I did like that.
That whole arc with the Borak call. Apparently their masks were supposed to be silver to simplify not having element juice in them. But the comics, so nobody told the people making the comics.
I also like her saying, "Have we lost our unity?" And then Kopaka promptly fucking off.
Fucking gone.
and she just, it's probably one of the best delivered lines in the movie was when she just says, "Kopaka." She's just so sad.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of funny because that's how little he gives a shit.
Well, I mean, okay, to be fair, we do find out later he's off saving Onua and Pohatu,
Yeah.
so...
My headcanon is...
He could have said something. It's like, you know what? You're right. I'll go find the others.
My headcanon is he doesn't bother answering questions that the obvious answer is yes. It's just like the Toa go through this song and dance every couple of months apparently. Just they hate each other and then they love each other and then they fight good and then they hate each other again and then they fight good and then they hate each other. It's gonna be fine. It doesn't matter if Kopaka just wanders off without telling anybody. Everything's gonna be fine. It doesn't matter if Lewa gets fucking mind jacked every couple of minutes. It doesn't matter if he meets Cthulhu and sells his soul to him. One day eventually
meanwhile,
we're gonna get to that. and it's gonna be funny.
Meanwhile, Harley is
God
still here.
damn it.
Remember her?
Yeah, remember?
Why?
She's still in the book.
She's wandering around.
I'll give it this much. These sections of the walkthrough or whatever it is are tolerable, even if it does like really go into detail explaining the different charms and what they are in parentheses for like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah.
She slotted each crystal into the proper slot exactly as it was written on the front of the statue.
It's exactly as foretold.
What are these crystals? I don't get it.
Who are
Greg,
these people?
fix me. Fix me, you've broken me, Greg. Oh, anyway. I think that's the last Harley section anyway, because then she gets teleported to Kininui for some
No,
reason.
it's not the last. There's still the
Oh,
when
Well,
Takuma's
yeah,
shiny boy, shiny magic man.
yeah, well, this is the last one that wasn't in the movie, put it that way.
So-
Right, okay.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what were these crystals, like, supposed to do? Like, in the context of, like, the whole story.
They teleport you to Kininui.
Why?
Why did they need to fight
don't
Kininui?
know.
Why?
Oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I'm thinking of Metronome.
What? Like, who made the crystals? Who made the teleporty thing? Why? Like,
It was all the Turaga. Have you learned nothing?
Probably.
We find out later it's not Newbie's fan club, it's fine.
It was all Greg.
Yep, Greg wandered around like
I mean,
Greg,
if you want to be,
Yep, Greg
yeah.
wandered around like the Easter Bunny, hiding magic crystals, MacGuffins.
Speaking of pointless tangents of wandering around, the Bozo Bros are back, and now they've
yeah.
wandered into Makuta's lair. Yeah. And Makuta's like, oh, fuck, it's you two again. Go away.
You're interrupting my monologuing.
How did you
Yeah.
get? How
And,
did you find my lair?
Yeah, they're just
just
gonna
kinda
wander
I
in.
thought I
but
sealed
anyway,
that stupid door that exists in the Great Mine for some reason.
Like the Toa of Light is gonna have to build a motorcycle and fill it with snakes in order to find Makuta's lair. These two idiots wander in. And he barely
but,
questions
you know.
it. Like, yeah, apparently it's possible to just find my lair.
Yeah, maybe he just appreciates the company.
You know
Who
what?
knows?
You know what? I like that. I like that idea. He just wants to have a game. He just wants to have a nice, fun game of Coley, but he's fucking huge.
And he has
But
too
nobody
many,
cares
and he
about
has
those
too many
guys.
fingers, so he can't hold a pen properly to write a letter to the Turaga and
Okay.
ask to play with them.
Should we talk about the hands now?
Not yet, not yet.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, meanwhile, the Toa and Rakshi are fighting back up at the Kininui, because you know they're all there. Takua and Jala are there. Everybody's
Hey, what are
there.
you talking about? We
and,
completely skipped over the scene where Takua finds Jala. For some reason,
Oh yeah, that
because
happened.
I'm the
What is
hero
the-
and I
what
say
is-
run.
what is the logic, is my question, in finding Jala, knowing full well that one, Makuta threatened to kill him, and two, that Makuta is after you and not the mask? Like, you are actively endangering your friend. It is your fault that he is going to die.
I like to think that Takua is an idiot and thinks that Makuta is also an idiot.
Maybe he just thinks, I guess the mask will fix
Takua
everything,
knows.
so let's get that to where it
Takua
needs to go.
knows that the mask shows him and that he's the guy Makuta wants, but he thinks that Jala is the guy Makuta wants. When in actuality,
Maybe.
Makuta is the only character in this fucking franchise that has any sense whatsoever and knows damn well that Takua is the guy.
And even that is questionable at best.
I said any sense whatsoever. Like you have to admit, he's very resourceful.
1% sense is better than 0%.
Yeah. Everyone else is a fucking idiot.
So yeah. So now we're in the big fight, and and they do the meme, guys. The meme
They-
with the sand
makes-
and the fire, and it makes glass.
Great ass!
Fire and sand. I forget the line.
Yeah.
Wow.
Haha, take
And
sass.
then they all work
Haha,
together.
success.
Onua makes some rocks, or earth rather, and Pohatu
Or
makes some
earth,
rocks,
rather.
and yeah, and then Tahu turns it to lava, and then Gali pours
She
water
just-
on it,
she's like,
and then Kopaka
I'm
freezes
just
it.
imagining, like, I've seen that scene time and again, and I'm just wondering, like, what Gali is doing here is basically the equivalent of, like, taking a spray gun on your naughty dog. It's like, bad, spray the dog for all the good it's doing. And then
I think-
Kopaka just freezes lava solid. Like, we're talking, like, 900-degree lava here.
Okay, so
not even
water-
convert, like, Gali doesn't even manage to convert it back to stone.
Okay.
So just like her water just instantly evaporates into steam, and then Kopaka's like, you know what? No, let me show you how it's fucking done.
I like to think that her water powers are more similar to a fireman's hose.
But what good would that do on fucking lava?
Not
Okay,
nothing. She just wants to feel useful.
Maybe the logic is that because she's, putting so much water vapor in the air, it's easier for Kopaka to freeze.
It's lava!
Yeah. So
I don't
a
know,
fireman-
dude.
It's biological physics.
The
It doesn't have to make
the
sense.
hoses that firemen use to put out fires are very strong, and you can make a reasonable argument that Gali is very, very strong at blunt force water blasts. Like, she could probably push back anything and cause some serious harm. I don't think she's gonna do anything against lava.
I mean, we find out later she can make water nukes.
You know, though, I still don't think it's gonna do much against lava. I still don't.
Isn't it? So, do the Toa usually, shout, anime attacks?
I was gonna bring that up too.
Windfly, sand crystals.
Lava!
Lava!
Yeah, that was weird.
Wind! Captain Bonkles!
And ice. Yeah. So that they do manage to freeze most of the Rakshi, but not the red one. Oh no, the red one's still terrorizing
Well,
Jala
I mean,
and
that is,
Takua.
that is,
What's
that is
gonna
exactly what the
happen?
red one does.
Yep, quite literally. And so it's about to swing for Takua and I guess knock him out or something. But then Jala just jumps on its arm and absorbs all the fear power and
Yeah,
dies.
Gives him a heart attack.
But we all know that Jala can't actually die because it's Lego.
I mean, he does legit die for
There
a
are
few
no-
minutes.
Takuta becomes Satan Jesus.
There are characters in
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves here.
there are characters
Yeah.
in Bionicle who die and stay dead, but not a whole lot.
Not a lot of named characters,
yeah.
anyways.
I mean, we'll get into that.
Well, that's a long one.
Yeah, I can think of three characters in Bionicle that are confirmed dead.
Also, I wanted to bring up another point here.
Four.
When the Toa first show up at Kininui and they're defending Takua and Jala, remember in the last recording when I talked about the Toa potentially combining the powers of their KanoiNuva to have better powers?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that happened here. They presumably they all used the power of the Haunuva at once, and that's why that worked out so much better than it did for just Tahu and Tekoro.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. To
Like
me as
a-
well. There were
like a
different
symbiosis.
colours, whereas Tahu's was red.
Well,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have had much of a choice in that because the problem with cloud storage is that if the computer goes away, you're not gonna have your shit anymore. And all of Tahu's masks were in Takoro, and
Except the Tau.
Yeah.
Except the
except
How.
for the How.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the one that he had. So So they would
Yeah,
have had.
so
they
now
would have
Tahu has
had-
5 masks
so
less
they-
than everyone
so
else.
The only way at this point that could have happened was at the TuragaNuva, and that's probably why they did it.
Yep.
And
So yeah, then so Jala dies.
Jala fucking dies, and his last
and-
words are, "You know who you are, Takua.
You were always a fucking idiot.
You were always different and a fucking idiot.
You were always different from Updog.
Yeah. So
Okay, and
So-
during this entire scene where Jala's dying, the Red Rakshi is just standing to the
Yeah,
side,
Well,
not
according
doing
to the
anything.
book, the other Toa are just wrestling with the fucking thing. Like, they're holding it by the arms, like trying to hold back a drunk man in a bar fight.
I'm gonna go with that. I was gonna say that it probably wants to savor their fear or whatever, but I like the idea better that the Toa are wrestling with it, trying to keep it from killing Takua. And then anyway, so Jala somehow realizes in his dying moments that that Takua was the Toa all along, and somehow Takua gleans that from the dying words of his best friend that are very vague and confusing,
And then he
becomes a
carves
shiny boy
his
because
and
mask
then
makes big.
and then he carves his own face into the Kininui for some fucking reason.
Yeah, I think it was just there, but okay.
I don't believe that. The book wants to make you think that it was, but I don't believe that for a second.
Anyway, so I want to know.
I always thought he carved him,
Anyway, so Takua turns into the goddamn Toa of Light.
And also, Jala's Koli staff turns into the Koli staff of light.
And what happened to the Mask of Strength of Light? What
what did happen to his
Takua's
Bakari?
original mask was a mask of strength. What happened to it? Where'd it go? Does he just have his own Kininui somewhere that we don't know about?
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe he transferred the essence of his Bakari into the fucking stone statue.
Oh fuck!
Maybe.
I like that. I like the idea that
It's like, oh god, I have too much mask power. I need to expel this other mask somehow.
It's like pointing a projector, and he just projected
I like
a beam of light to carve.
Yeah, I like the idea that TuragaNuva's Suva is just a giant rock shaped like the mask he's not using. But at any rate, it would have been redundant for him to have the Mask of Strength and the Mask of Light, because he's the Toa of Light. Having the Mask of Light, it makes you stronger to wear it. So, like, you didn't need both. Whatever.
Yeah, speaking of his new form, he's called TuragaNuva now, which doesn't really make any sense in canon, but like in terms of like the meta of the story, they wanted to keep the toy a secret, so they're just like, oh, call him TuragaNuva. No one will guess that this is Takua.
There was even worse in earlier versions of the set where it was just called the Seventh Toa.
If I recall,
yeah, they could have just done that.
They weren't even revealing the name until the movie came out.
Yeah, so yeah, he is now TuragaNuva, Toa of Light, because I guess he hates the name Takua now. Well,
it's because TuragaNuva sounds better than TakuaNuva.
And that was the original name, and that
doesn't need the name Nuva,
still
though.
reflected in Bionicle the game for the GBA, by the way.
Yep.
In fact, well, although to be fair, in Bionicle the game GBA, he's talking to himself in that part of the game.
I read somewhere that that the only reason why he looks like a TuragaNuva is because that's what he thought Toa looked like, and apparently
that is
a
confirmed.
retcon, like all Toa when they that is a thing that happens.
Yeah, so
Yes.
so
We'll get into
spoilers,
that.
later we do see other Toa and other Matoran turning into Toa, and apparently under normal circumstances they just end up looking like whatever the fuck they want to look like as Toa. It's very nice. Like the superpowers let you choose. That's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess he also becomes an honorary TuragaNuva, which is why he now has Nuva in his name.
But he got the armor and he got the name.
He also becomes a complete fucking Chad.
He also becomes a freaking Chad. Yeah. Also his voice. Is it a different voice actor or is it the same?
It's the same voice actor. It's just got this weird metallic filter over it.
Yeah.
I never understood.
It sounds like he's pitch shifted.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's pitch shifted badly, or
I think he probably
It
is.
sounds really weird. I think the idea they're going for is that the light projected from him is so bright that it's loud.
Well, I guess we know what a certain Toa team from the next couple years will sound like.
Yeah. So anyway, TuragaNuva is so bright that it's just fucking loud.
Yep, and he's so loud, bright that the Rakshi just sort of disintegrate on the spot.
So that's what I was saying. I don't remember why I was saying it earlier. We were talking about the Rakshi, and apparently TuragaNuva can just do that. Apparently, the Rakshi and other forms of pure evil are light is super effective against them, and he can basically one-shot anything that comes from Makuta.
Yep. And after he one-shots them, they dismantle the Rakshi's bodies and turn it into a bike.
Lego thing.
Yep. They do a
Lego thing, yeah.
I swear to God, I remember somewhere they said that they used some spare parts from the Borak Call also, and that's why it had a Borak Call shield on it. But I don't recall reading that in the book 2 weeks ago, so I don't know where that came.
No, they didn't mention the Borak Call in this one.
I don't know where I
No.
got that.
Might have been from a guidebook.
Might have been a guidebook. You know, it just kind of makes sense that they'd have spare parts of these things lying around. And
Except, for the fact that
But what's-
Korak Cal completely turned to dust.
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't think that they kept the story perfectly straight in this franchise. Guys, I'm starting to think that they didn't know what they were doing.
So, but anyway, they do build the bike. And what's the best thing to put on the front of your bike than your dead best friend's face?
That's what they do.
We put it like that.
And then his amnesiac girlfriend says this sappy line that's, I mean, I guess it would be adorable if to say about someone after their funeral, but like in the context of watching it, it's really sappy. It's cute though.
Takua was your herald. Let him lead you into the
I don't know
darkness
Thank
or
you,
whatever.
Christopher Walken.
Jala was your herald. Let him guide you into the darkness. Bears! This is not over. Bears!
Yeah. So Makuta realizes that the seventh Toa is on the way, and he tells his two little bozo bro children to go away. I can't babysit you anymore, guys.
Alright, guys. Alright, guys. This has been fun Coley practice. It's time, but I gotta play with with the big guy now. He's real shiny.
Go play, kids. Daddy's got work to do.
And so the little kids learn an important life lesson. You shouldn't run away from your troubles and try to find a paradise where everything is safe. You should just stop being a pussy and
Even
man
though
up.
the next couple of years of the storyline, even literally the next year of the storyline is about trying to find a paradise where everything is safe. In fact,
Yep.
even the end of this movie, they go to a place to find a paradise where everything is safe.
Yep.
And then they decide the the fate of the world with a game of lacrosse.
I like to think that Makuta is just
Yep.
just using this as a distraction.
Because clearly he
A
doesn't
simple
want
game
people.
of
Because
Coley.
clearly he doesn't want people to see his freakish thumbs.
Okay. Are we talking about the hands yet? Now?
Yes, now we can talk about
Now
the
we-
hands.
All right.
Nice.
So Makuta's first Lego set, his first official Lego set, used copies of TuragaNuva's mask as his hands, and one theory on Twitter was that the animators wanted to try to give him one finger for every one of the little side doodads on the mask. Because the mask had
the ending result, of course, that on each hand he had 3 fingers and 2 thumbs.
All right.
And I don't know if it's just because, of the remastered version that I watched, or just because I was analyzing it more now than I usually did, but I never once noticed that before, and I completely flipped the fuck out when I noticed.
My theory is it's like C-3PO's silver leg. They just wanted to give Makuta something unique and weird about his hands, and they thought, just give him some extra fingers. That'll make his hands look creepy.
Well, have you seen where he resides? I bet that's like why it all happens.
He also has chicken legs.
Oh yeah.
And he also apparently has a pool of mercury.
Yeah.
Mercury.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, because Takua's sparkly spoon made the ball shiny.
Yep. All right. So the reason that they play Koli to determine the fate of the world is mostly because Makuta is just tricking TuragaNuva, because, like I explained earlier, TuragaNuva can just basically one-shot anything that comes from Makuta. Later in the movie, he does shoot Makuta directly, and he practically kills him. But he gets up in the end, but he
got fucking yeeted.
He got fucking yeeted,
Yep.
son. So TuragaNuva does. I fucked up. TuragaNuva doesn't actually know that specifically. He just assumed he got real lucky. I think, and so Makuta is trying to trick him into, well, if I just fight this guy one-on-one, I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna trick him into playing a sport that I know for a fact he's not good at.
Trick him into bringing everyone on the island down here and then sealing them in.
I don't think he actually I think he just expected to stall him. I don't think he expected him to actually tell Holly to bring everyone down before he's defeated Makuta. I was thinking that I was screaming at the screen, "What are you doing? Why are you? I knew he was gonna do this, but why?
Why did he do that?
know.
I'm so confused as
She was there
what?
specifically to document his fight against Makuta, so why not wait until you've defeated Makuta to bring the boys down to the yard?
Not to mention, Holly can't exactly document anything when she's been sent on an errand.
It's just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
So Makuta's all Makuta probably decided to play Koli with him after he said that shit. Wait, you're doing what? Oh my god, thank you. I thought I was actually completely out of ideas here. I thought you were gonna fucking kill me, but now you've given me a plan. Thank you so much. Let's play a game of fucking lacrosse and stall for time, and then I'm gonna cave in my lair on top of all the boys.
Yeah. So actually, real quick, I just want to talk about Holly when she is being sent back up to the surface, which she has to run all the way there, by the way,
Yeah,
because the bike's broken.
just fucking broke. Apparently, it was gonna be a one. Apparently,
Yeah. TuragaNuva crashed the bike into Makuta's lair, not knowing that Harley was just hiding inside of it, so he could have killed her.
Even more
but, you
brain
know,
So
damage.
as she's
He's irresponsible.
yeah. So first she had
course,
first she had the roof of her house cave in on her. Then she had a hover bike explode with her in it, and she's gonna be shot.
so anyway,
she's gonna be struck by lightning and cursed by a magical artifact in oncoming years. She's literally
anyway,
going to
she's
start
running back
hearing
to the
voices in her head.
So she's running back to the surface, and she's clutching Jala's mask in her hands. And I like this little line where it says that Jala's mask gives her strength in her feet and courage in her heart, or something like that.
I didn't
I really like
see
that because
line in the book either. Though to be fair,
well,
by
I
this
don't know what
point
version
it
you're
was
reading.
already 10-6, and I was just sort of skimming through it.
I basically
but yeah, I like that because strength and courage, those are the things you learn in Takoro in the game.
I
So,
basically skimmed over any sequence that had the word Holly in it because I thought it was game.
Yeah. Anyway, so she gathers all the Matora and gives them an inspirational speech. They all go down into the underground.
Just in time to watch TuragaNuva about to die. Because he's not good at lacrosse. Why did he agree to this?
I don't know, but then he does deck Makuta with one of them balls.
And it becomes a.
So this is a ball of light-charged, energized protodermis.
Like it fucking yeets him, like Liam said. Yeet.
Yep. That probably burnt a hole straight through Makuta's chest, but they can't show it because it's a kid's film.
And then TuragaNuva has this bright idea. Hey, what if I put the Mask of Light on Makuta?
That totally doesn't happen.
So
in the
this
book.
part changed slightly.
And also during
this part changed slightly between the book and
scene
movie.
when they're conversing about like, I will protect him from you. According to TuragaNuva, apparently Madanui does not live. What?
Well, when you're
this part of the book isn't very well written.
It's a metaphorical live because when you're asleep, you don't really do stuff, and when you're in
that's kind of how I took it.
But, you're missing out on all sorts of life experiences. Like Madanui should be going to high school and playing checkers and.
Now I'm just imagining that stupid meme of the person waking up from a coma as like, oh boy, I can't wait to meet all these new Toa that have formed.
Do you think this, like, the whole, like, he does not live sort of thing kind of ties into, like, some of the previous kind of interpretations of Makuta being actually, like, how Makuta's act...
I like the headcanon that Makuta is just fucking with him because it really doesn't line up with his characterization in later books. And
well, no, that wasn't a line from Makuta. That was TuragaNuva thinking to himself and like trying to rationalize what Makuta was saying.
No, that's what I'm saying. When Makuta was like, I'm trying to protect Madanui from you. I put him to sleep so that he wouldn't be in pain anymore. And like,
but like,
was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, Makuta's technically not lying. Sleep does spare him pain.
He was just being a good little brother.
I like to think though that he was lying. That his intent wasn't to spare Madanui. It's just like he's totally fucking. He's totally fucking with TuragaNuva because playing
Makuta.
Because again. TuragaNuva can fucking one-shot Makuta in a one-on-one fight, so the only way to really fight him is with mind games.
So, after TuragaNuva beats him in Koli, this part diverges slightly between book and movie. I honestly think the movie got the better end of the deal here, because Makuta says in the movie, my duty remains to the Mask of Shadows, and TuragaNuva's like, then let's take a closer look behind that mask, and tries to rip the Mask of Shadows off his face. That's cool. In the book, instead, Makuta says, my duty remains to the Shadows, whatever that means. And TuragaNuva says, then let's take a closer look at those shadows.
I could have sworn that in at least somewhere, I could have sworn that he actually puts the Mask of Light on Makuta.
Yeah, that's in this book.
That's in the book.
Yeah.
They literally
that's in the book,
masks.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
That's interesting. It doesn't make any sense why he'd put the Mask of Shadow on his own face, though.
So that he can become Takuta.
I think he honestly does just want to know what the fuck Makuta's talking about and thinks that putting the mask on his face will... Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I just want to know what your deal is. Give me that fucking mask. Here's mine. We'll play swapsies.
Tradesies?
I guess.
And then they fall into the pool of fucking energized protodermis they were playing sports ball with a minute ago.
Which is renamed Energized Protodermis in this version of the book, by the way. It's just Mercury in the original book.
Yes.
Because Hapka didn't get the memo and just thought, well, it's supposed to be bright, shiny, and silver, so I guess it's Mercury. And they come out as fucking Adolf Linkler from Rick and Morty.
Satan Jesus.
Yeah, Satan Jesus,
Jesus,
Abraham Lincoln, Adolf Hitler clone. Yeah.
Same big dick energy.
Yep, and
Liam doesn't watch Rick and Morty. Okay, so Rick got bored one day and he combined the DNA of Abraham Lincoln and Adolf Hitler to see what would happen.
Okay.
so anyway, so these two, they come out fused into one, and I guess the dominant personality here is
Hail
TuragaNuva,
Satan
because
Jesus.
Makoto doesn't seem to be
Hail
doing shit.
Satan Jesus.
So
Yeah.
like, Makuta, TuragaNuva, he says, light has revealed the will of Matanui. And I guess he's like, it's like a symbol, it's like a sign of... Edit out this part, this is unusable. Edit out me stammering over my words trying to think.
And the will of Matanui is to hold this door open for everyone to walk through.
Yep, everybody, I've listened to multiple podcasts about this movie. Everyone thinks it's really stupid that this guy is so intimidating and cool looking and just supposed to be like this some sort of god being.
Not just that. It has been officially stated that at the time of his existence, TuragaNuva is the single most powerful being to have ever set foot in the Matoran universe.
Yep, and what he does is he holds open a door that is the heaviest thing in the universe. It is canonically the heaviest thing in the universe, and this guy needed to exist to hold this door open. No one else could do it. Okay. And then it crushes him.
Yep.
So everyone walks.
We completely skipped over a thing.
Everyone walk.
Oh yeah. While he's holding the door
He
open
tells
with one hand, he reaches
to walk
down
through
with
the door and to the mysterious chamber.
And while Hali's going through, he says, "Hold on, let me just revive that guy real quick."
Okay, now,
Yeah.
So
because that's a
literally
thing
like
he
a
can
fucking
do.
Video game revive, like your teammate is down, so you just poke him and up he comes.
Okay, so later
And the whole character development for like Takua discovering himself being TuragaNuva is completely redundant.
So in later years, we find out Makuta very much knows how the universe works, and knew
And I'm
that.
gonna stop. Nope. You're not gonna talk about that.
I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to say he probably knew that Jala could be revived, but why the hell did he think that he could do it? What the hell made him think, well, I've only existed for 30 seconds. The power of light and shadow apparently gives me the power to manipulate life. Okay. Why would you...
I know this joke is gonna fall kind of flat, but I'm gonna try anyways. This is a collect call to Redacted.
Where would you get the... He's existed for 30 seconds. Where the hell did he get the idea that he could revive a guy?
I forgot to mention, going back to like when Takua did become TuragaNuva, I actually cried during that scene.
He was real cool. So, I guess TuragaNuva just has an innate sense of his abilities and just kind of knew that he could do that.
You always knew what you were.
Yeah.
And then he says that his destiny is complete and he lets the door crush him. Even though, like, I've held stuff before. You can, like... you can shimmy around while you're dropping it. He could have like shimmied behind the door and like it could have not crushed him, and then and then there wouldn't be a villain anymore because he is the villain.
I mean, you don't just shimmy up from under the heaviest thing in the universe.
I mean, he could have, because he's been lifting it fine up until now. It's just like, you could have just like shimmied on the other side of the door and then bam, then you're fine.
Maybe the rock gets heavier the longer you hold it up.
Maybe he didn't have the energy to shimmy.
Just...
Speaking of that door, by the way, after it crushes him, how do the other guys get back?
Yes.
Maybe the
Wait,
maybe the door actually does have like controls that operate it. They were just on the inside of the door and not on the outside.
Makuda's layers
So
of
Makuta
fucking
just forgot his
saw trap.
keys?
Yeah, basically, the Matanui side of the door did not have door controls. The Metronui side of the door does have door controls.
I guess I could see that.
Oh dear.
I like to fill in the holes.
Are we all right here? What's going on?
I like to fill. I like to
God damn
fill.
it! I forgot to close the garage door, and they've stolen Matanui.
Oh, you have no idea.
Okay, to be fair, right, due to things that we will learn much later, it does kind of make sense that this door would have sort of, you know, above military grade strength for closing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, because
I
of
mean, yeah.
Things.
Anyway, another thing. When TuragaNuva got the mask of shadows off, apparently Makuta's essence was green. I thought that was a fun detail.
Yeah. I always imagined it was green.
Yeah, well, it is green, as we'll find out in like a couple years from now. I just thought that was an interesting detail because I imagine that was a coincidence because I don't know, like with how little effort they put into keeping such minor details straight. Sometimes I think they just kind of lucked out with green being the canon color of what Makuta juice is.
I mean, maybe that was established in the movie and then carried forward into other stuff.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I burped. A little vomit
Yeah,
came
so,
out.
Moving deftly on.
So,
Yeah.
Moving on.
yes. After he gets crushed by the door, let's see, everyone's on the other side, and they're like, well, I guess TuragaNuva was a guy.
I guess
and
it's
then
time
he's like,
to awaken Matanui, except it's not.
And then Turaga eyebrows. And then Turaga eyebrows.
Matanui
just-
will awaken this day.
And then Turaga
This day.
eyebrows surprises the fuck out of him with a thing that he seems to know about. He doesn't acknowledge at all that TuragaNuva is dead. He just kind of like puts them on the Bionicle logo that's on the floor and just tells them to recite some stuff. And he just recites some stuff, and then he puts the mask on the center, and then TuragaNuva's alive again, and he's like, oh.
Except in the book, where he never died in the first place.
yep, in the book, after the dust clears from the door falling on the guy, TuragaNuva's just there.
I don't know which of these things I like the least. I don't think either of these scenes works.
The weirdest thing for me was in the movie when he's being revived. You can see, like, first the light particles form Takua, and then TuragaNuva superimposed on him.
It's like
really weird.
He
well,
evolved.
no, like okay, so Steven Universe exists, and the existence of Steven Universe improves a lot of similar media because. It
TuragaNuva confirmed Pink Diamond.
Yes, actually, because whenever a gem reforms in Steven Universe, they cycle through their previous forms before landing on a new one. So that's what happened to TuragaNuva reformed, and it started bringing him back as Takua, and then it was like, oh shit, this is out of date. Let's move on to the new model.
Yep, I guess that's how it do
Except
be
if
do.
that theory doesn't really work because Takua's had more than two forms.
Well done, Greg. 1% sense farting.
What Liam, correct me. The number would be like 4, right?
3.
Let's see, hang on. So we got that one, we got that one, that one.
Yeah, 4 is accurate. We'll find out what those 4 are next time on Dragon Ball Z, which this is also.
So that's the end of the movie and the book proper, but we still got the epilogue to go.
This is the way of the Bionicle.
The Bionicle.
This is the way of the Bionicle, yep. Sure is. So then we just have a little epilogue. It's a nice little flashback. The guys are like, hey, remember those Rakshi? Remember the time when they combined? I sure remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
No.
was an epilogue. There was an epilogue where they have a little flashback, and turns out the Rakshi can combine just like all the other Bionicles.
Yep. So yeah, this flashback actually slots in pretty well just before chapter 29, so I guess it fits in pretty well. It's alright.
Wait.
And then right at the end, bombshell, you guys aren't the first Toa. And we're gonna find out more about that next time.
Done! It turns out.
Oh, wait.
It turns out all that foreshadowing we did was foreshadowing. Who'd have thunk it?
You are not the first Toa.
And
Well,
Metro Nui's
obviously,
gonna
we
be
have
a
a Toa of
thing.
Light now.
It turns out all these prophecies were just bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah, we've been making shit up for as long. We've been making shit up for as long as we can. We're not actually even old. We're not even older than the rest of the Matorian. We're literally the same age.
Yep.
Like we're not wise and we're not wise.
So,
we're just stupid.
yeah.
We're just stupid and good at bullshitting.
So yeah, Metro Nui, our island home, and the stories of ye olde Toa will be found out next time.
It is
so,
time
yeah.
for two
That's kind of
whole years of flashback stories.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got so used to flashbacks after. Oh fuck! You know what? I'll touch back on this point later. Put a bookmark in that part. I got so used to flashbacks that I just started assuming that everything was a flashback.
Yeah. So yeah, Levi, get used to that. We aren't
So-
done with the flashbacks
Oh,
yet, not
in
for a
fact,
long
they
time.
get even
Do you
more.
want me to
I mean,
just?
I did just say it went on for 2 whole years.
Do you want me to just?
Well, I mean, even beyond that.
So I'm on the wiki right now. Do you want me to just quickly go over what the Rakshi powers were?
I think we kind of already did.
Sure, why not?
We
but
went
there's a
over
few more
what
we
the
didn't
powers
say.
are. Do you want to know what they do?
I mean, it has been kind of long.
Yes.
So, dodge at the final level, stage 6. Dodge is impossible to physically strike no matter how swiftly or powerfully.
Excuse me?
Okay, so maybe I should start...
Oh yeah. All of the level 6 powers are
Yeah,
ridiculous.
I'll go back to the stage 1, and let's see. Dodge. Surprisingly difficult to catch. And let's see. Dodge at...
don't forget that when-
Wait. A level 1 Rakshi, a level 1 dodge Rakshi is basically Roadrunner, and
Yeah.
a level 6 dodge Rakshi is basically Perfect Cell.
Don't forget that, like, when a Kraata does become a Shadow Kraata, it has the infected range thing and their previous power.
Yep. And when it becomes a becomes a shoe Rakshi, it wears shoes. I guess the shoe thing isn't canon, so I don't know what it does, but I imagine it would do something ridiculous.
How about the Rakshi of molecular disruption, in brackets, inorganic?
The stage 2 variant of molecular disruption tunnels slowly through solid rock or metal by disrupting molecules. Okay.
Seems
Thank you,
legit.
TuragaNuva.
Let's see what it does at level 7. What one? Molecule has the power to utterly disintegrate any inorganic object with a touch.
How is that any different than the disintegration Rakshi?
I guess that one can do it on
What
organic
about the
stuff.
elasticity?
Oh, elasticity at level 7?
You can use Gum Gum Pistol.
Plastic Man?
Let's see. Elasticity. Can stretch incredible lengths in the blink of an eye to infect a faraway mask, even though it's already fucking... Okay.
And I can just picture the Kraata doing that, like.
Let's see
So,
if I
no, I'm just imagining, like, you know those like, the flashback and change your mind of Yellow Diamond stretching her head into the room in Steven's dream?
Yeah.
dodge.
I haven't gone that far.
Gotta love the Kraata of fire resistance.
Fire
Ice
resistance.
resistance.
Strong enough to withstand the heat of TuragaNuva's Magna Swords, even though they all do that. The TuragaNuva can barely touch any of these things.
Yeah.
Who are you kidding? The TuragaNuva can barely touch anything.
Yeah, they get their asses kicked so much. It's like...
TuragaNuva, more like Toa get good.
Yeah.
You tried.
I did, and I failed.
Oh, there's a plasma Rockshi. How fun. Has the power to instantly melt anything. Okay.
Fun.
Oh hey, there's one of heat vision
Oh,
and
yeah,
one of
no,
laser
oh.
vision.
Hey,
Those are different
Limited
things.
invulnerability. Do you want to know what it does at level 6?
I bet it's not the same thing as quick
Absolutely
healing.
invulnerable to physical harm of any kind.
Very limited.
Still limited.
I don't know why this is so fun. What this? And teleportation. It's I just find it cute that lemon metallic is a color, and teleportation, quick healing, and laser vision all have it. That's fun. Oh, and gravity.
Wait,
Gravity is lemons.
there's isn't there? Yeah, there's Rahi and insect control. How are Rahi and insects different?
So all
Apparently.
insects are Rahi, but not all Rahi are insects. Every creature that exists that actually no, it says in the trivia section that Kraata aren't Rahi. Okay, I don't know what the fuck I'm Greg, why didn't you go through your editors when you were answering fan questions?
I think you've just been hit by a confusion Kraata.
Silence. No.
Should we just end the episode there?
No,
Yeah.
no. Here's what we should end the episode on. Significant shrinkage.
Significant shrinkage.
Significant shrinkage Kraata.
So next time we're gonna be reading book 4, prologue to chapter 37, with optional reading of the Metro Nui City Guide. You don't have to read it though, it doesn't add anything to the story, it's just nice.
Ooh, I cannot wait to see the
that's-
length of this episode.
So far, it's almost 2
Oh,
hours
yeah.
and 40 minutes.
Me too.
Jeez.
Me too, friend. Me too.
Oh, Matanui, help us.
Goodbye everybody,
Bye.
we'll see you
Bye.
next time.
I hope you all die.
Giant Rakshi Schlong.
I want...
United, we embraced our duty. Light found itself and illuminated our destiny. What I knew at that moment, more than ever before, was that someday Mata Nui himself would be awakened. As TuragaNuva brought joyous light to this city of the Great Spirit, the new dawn stirred in me visions of our past. Visions of a time when we thought new legends could not be made. It was the time of the Great Masks, a time when 6 mighty friendships were set for a lifetime's journey. And even though the shadows crawled with deceivers, we knew not the face of darkness, nor the fear of those places. Because then, as now, as we stood side by side, as the Toa of Metro Nui, as new legends awake, old lessons must also be remembered. For this is the way of the Bionicle.